Captain's Log, June 2nd, 2836. After 27 years of war between the Degen Coomers and the Sainthood Slayers, a new hope arises. As the battlefield lay weaponized, locked and loaded for destruction, negotiations for a peace treaty are in transition. The moderator has arrived at Station 42. Can this war be ended? Will the Coomers and Slayers find a middle ground?
Abort mission. I repeat, abort mission. Negotiation failure. Abort mission.
Heavy booty, 6+, low orbit, over grid 15-2.
No joy, Yashiman.
Then go to your window and look up their biggest fracking asteroid.
Copy, Yashiman. Still blind. Got some kind of system-wide crash in the defense grid.
Go on, track yourself right goddamn now, because we got Boku inbound, and they're not carrying flow.
Wait one, Yashiman.
We don't have flow.
To. Okay, here we go.
Oh, see, I said the 30-second warning, so you weren't doing anything stupid when it got brought up. Nobody listens to me, though. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I am Sarah the Raging Tomato here, bringing to you another Moderator Monday live. We're going to be discussing our chemtrails reel. And with the conversation I had with these fine gentlemen backstage, I know it's going to be a doozy. It's going to be a good one. You're going to laugh your ass off all night. So buckle up, sit down, shut up, and listen. Powder Dusty, would you like to kick off with your opening statement, please?
Sure. I've been on a lot of debates here. And I think out of all of the debates I've been on, my opponents here have the stupidest position I've ever seen anyone put themselves in. I don't know what the two are thinking. Chemtrails, geoengineering, these are things that aren't just established. They've been established for almost a century. So, I mean, I've got document after document after document from government sources, which I assume both of them are fans of. I guess that's my opening statement. I don't know where they can go from here.
Fair enough. Benjamin, to you.
Hello, everyone. For those that don't know me, I am Benjamin Balderson, currently on Deliberating Dog-Faced Dudes, and I've been around all over the podcast and speaking world, so by name, I'm easy to find. I would like to thank Sarah Tomato for the kind invite, Flo for partnering, and Kreg for accepting. I think this will be a lot of fun. I'm a little surprised to be debating this particular topic in today's world. It very much proves a thing gets a dirty label. It is always dirty to the public thereafter. In 2008, China reported using weather modification to control the weather fairly famously. They reportedly employ 37,000 people nationwide whose sole responsibility is cloud seeding even today. In the Beijing Weather Office. That was almost 20 years ago and was worldwide news. I understand you basically have to be a farmer to care about rain, and in today's industrialized worlds, farmers are few and far between. Not everyone hears of or knows about companies like Weather Modification Incorporated at the very odd address of www.weathermodification.com. Who would have guessed? Operating out of big old Fargo, North Dakota since 1992 and was founded in 1961 at their original location in such a tiny area in North Dakota, nobody even cares. Not everyone knows about organizations like the Weather Modification Association. You'd never guess what their website is. It's a hard one. Oh. Which was organized in 1950. In today's world, though, the Googles is in most people's hands. So this should be easy to fix. Then you could suddenly discover all the planned, ongoing, and failed projects to attempt at controlling the temperature or sunlight atmospherically. Like many patents pulled, many of these are scrapped, but many are tried with some interesting ways proposed. One thing I find interesting is looking at flight numbers during the boogeyman in the air years. I'm pretty sure these guys probably were running around with their masks on. Tampies.
As they should be.
Yeah. Then looking at commercial flight numbers during that same time period. The numbers were abysmal, with the commercial industry dropping almost 70% on average. Remember essential workers and all the closed companies and shipping interruptions? I sure as hell do. Private flights fell reportedly 80% on average during that same time period. But oddly, MIT, y'all have heard of MIT? Is that like neonatal MIT? Has been studying trail coverage through satellite imagery, and reportedly during the same time period, there was only a 22.3% in trail reduction, which is fairly head scratching. Little bit of a discrepancy. In closing, once again, thank you for the invite. And I believe this will be an interesting conversation. But in today's world, to pretend that all we see is frozen water crystals and you're a crazy conspiracy theorist for believing otherwise, I'm happy to take the easy win and have a good time.
Thank you, Benjamin. And Kreg, to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's episode of That's Not How Planes Work. I'm Kreg from FTFE, and I've been summoned here to defend basic atmospheric science from people who think the government is secretly crop dusting humanity with brain fog, infertility, and probably gluten intolerance. Now let's get something straight. Those white lines in the sky, they're not chemicals, they're not mind control, they're not some part of global eugenics plot. They're called contrails, which is short for condensation trails, and they've existed literally since airplanes flew high enough to hit cold, moist air, like in World War II. There are photographs of them and videos in the 1940s, but sure, Jan, tell me how you figured out the plot from your couch using a YouTube video and your gut feelings. Let me just address the most deliciously ironic part of this whole chemtrail conspiracy. If the powers that be really are spraying us with mystery toxins, then they live here too. They breathe the same air, drink the same water, and probably have to walk past Karen on Facebook ranting about the lines just like the rest of us. Apparently, the elites are smart enough to build a global secret spraying operation, but too stupid to install an air filter in their homes. I mean, come on, what kind of Bond villain forgets to wear a gas mask? Look, we've got actual data, atmospheric models, and a century of aviation science that explains exactly why contrails form. It's not a mystery, it is physics. But tonight, my opponent's going to ignore all that and hit us with, well, I feel like it's poison because feelings are the new evidence, apparently.
I mean,
let's just quickly attack one of the things that they said, the difference between chemtrails and geoengineering. Chemtrails, aka sky nonsense. What is it, supposedly? A completely debunked conspiracy theory claiming the government airlines or the global elites are secretly spraying the population with toxic chemicals from planes for mind control, population reduction, weather control, or insert whatever today's flavor of paranoia is. What it actually is, they are contrails, condensation trails, literally just water vapor and sometimes soot from jet engine exhaust freezing in an upper atmosphere, like seeing your breath on a cold day if you're mouth could move at 600 miles per hour at 35,000 feet. Evidence supporting it is as much as Flat Earth has supporting that. Not one shred of credible scientific proof, just zoomed in photos of planes, fuel tanks, misidentified ballast barrels used in flight testing, and dodgy YouTube videos narrated by blokes who think fluoride is a tranquilizer. Geoengineering, actual science. What is it? A legitimate field of climate science looking at possible ways to counteract climate change. It's mostly theoretical or in small scale experimental phases. Think of it as humanity saying, what if things get so bad we have to start hacking the planet to save ourselves? Types include solar radiation management and carbon dioxide removal. Is anything being sprayed from planes right now? No. There are no active large-scale geoengineer programs and certainly nothing being sprayed secretly over cities. There have been theoretical papers and very limited tests, like releasing small amounts of particles into stratosphere to see how they disperse, but it's public, peer-reviewed, and very, very cautious. Evidence supporting it is real research, academic journals, climate modeling, international ethics panels, and transparency, because everything the chemtrail crowd hates is right there. Too long didn't read is chemtrails are nonsense, geoengineer is real. But chemtrail believers love to hijack the concept of geoengineering to say, see, they admit it, but it's like pointing at a weather balloon and screaming aliens. You want the truth? Chemtrails are a myth. Geoengineering is real science. And conflating the two.
Bring those goalposts back here.
Failed a science class taught by a goldfish. Now let me say that again, but angrier and with a South Mead accent. Say the word. Over to you, Toon.
All right, and MC wants to bring up. There we go.
All right, thank you, Kreg. So the title is "Are Chemtrails Real?" So what are chemtrails? I'll tell you what they're not. They're not cloud seeding. Cloud seeding is to take an existing cloud. So the lines in the sky aren't existing clouds. So take an existing cloud and cause it to precipitate. They use silver oxide, dry ice, calcium chloride, liquefied propane, or other things. The photograph there is a photograph of a torches, like they start fire on there, and that puts junk into the air, and the particles then cause the rain to fall from the existing clouds. Chemtrails are not things like Agent Orange, radioactive tracer tests. These are real things we know about. They are not other documented legit or less legit programs that are also known about. Chemtrails are not these ballast tanks that are used to test whether or not an airplane can handle the mass of a full plane with people and luggage. And it's not dumping fuel to reduce weight for an unplanned landing. Chemtrails, your claim, the word chemtrail, is this stuff. This is what is the claim. This is the topic of today's debate, not geoengineering, things that we know about. The lines in the sky behind passenger planes, the passenger planes that you can look up using any of a number of apps to see the flight number. And you can even get on these planes yourself. Now, what is the content of a contrail? A real contrail is because a passenger jet burns fuel. It's mostly kerosene. Jet A1 is the name of it, and it's highly refined kerosene. It's very pure. It has carbon numbers between 8 and 16. Typically, there's a list of the different chemical compounds. And then there's also, because it's impurities in there, they can't have it be perfect. A little bit of water, that's the biggest impurity. Then they have other additives like a static dissipator so that, you don't get sparks and then explosions. Things for de-icing, things to prevent corrosion and lubrication. So here is the general formula for burning kerosene. There's the top one. I'm sorry that the interruption wasn't English, but so there on the top is the general purpose chemical formula for any of those there to burn. The bottom one specifically for C12 I chose because it's right about in the middle. C12H24 plus 18 O2s. 18 oxygen pairs, gives you 12 CO2s and 12 water molecules. That's what happens when you burn it. You get carbon dioxide and water.
You deserve a wedgie.
And why would it why would you see a contrail or not see a contrail? Well, the difference is the dew point. The dew point is a temperature. So the combination of humidity, air pressure, and humidity, oh my goodness, temperature. Temp is anyway, it determines if the water vapor will stay gaseous or if it will condense. That's the dew point. The temperature of the water vapor will condense. So if you have lower air pressure, you have a lower dew point. If you have lower humidity, you have a lower dew point. So contrails are less likely over Nevada. You will not find very many pictures taken from Las Vegas of contrails. And on the you will see them more likely over the East Coast, where you have lots of humid air because it's near the ocean, and it's cooler, especially farther north. That's where you will see more contrails. Plus, that's where more people live. There we go. That's all I got.
All right. So,
oh no, I got one more. I'm sorry, one more. So the burden to you guys is the empirical analysis of the contents of the chemtrails, as you claim. Maybe you could sample them. You could do some spectroscopy with or without a container. You could use LiDAR or satellite imagery. And then you need, this is going to be the really tough one. You need to document the delivery methods on these passenger planes.
I got you backstage.
Where's the application hardware installed in the plane? What is the maintenance procedure? Certainly the people that are maintaining these things need to have documentation for what
we need all that shit to prove chemtrails.
Dude, shut up.
And go then so then there's mechanics, and so maybe you want to maybe have some mechanics that are like, yep, here's where this goes through, right? All of these things need maintenance. You can't just hope that they happen. They need to be maintained like everything else in the plane. So, and then the final thing, you have to have the motivation. It's been going on for decades. What is the purpose? Because you wouldn't go to all the trouble without a reason. And then the decision makers, as Kreg said, they're affected by the same stuff as everyone else. There we go.
Perfect. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate that.
I'm sorry, Sarah. I said I didn't have any questions ever.
Well,
to speak twice every time.
Does what?
Kreg get to speak twice every time?
You guys, you're calling them both Kreg, right?
Well, just because he has two cameras.
You muted me.
Yes, I did, because you wouldn't stop interrupting. You know better than to interrupt opening and closing statements.
Craig's.
Before you get started, I wanted to send a big kind reminder to everyone. I believe all of the gentlemen are dual streaming as well. So please be sure to like, subscribe, and share on all of their ends, just as well as mine. And I am excited. We hit the big 7K last night. So just a big shout out to all of the maters. But do your job, like, subscribe, share. We will run the debate. We will end with closing statements. We will read and respond to your super chats, and then we will open up the panel for open panel dumpster fire. Okay, gentlemen, the floor is open.
Hey, Ray Charles, that document you just sent, let me just read one little bit from it. It says, what if I see streaks in the sky and I think somebody is modifying the weather? And then the document you sent says,
you didn't scroll
these
down
are
to the
contrails
bottom,
produced by planes. Contrails are the condensated products of combustion and vapor generated by
scroll
airplanes
down to the
traveling
bottom
higher
where
altitudes while the atmosphere is colder. These have been prominent atmospheric features since the beginning of jet plane travel. So thank you.
And then, but then down at the bottom, what is that? That's
conspiracy
109.
Do you have impulse control issues?
There's 109 pages below that at the bottom of public records of them actually spraying chemicals into the air to modify the weather. So. And it makes sense that they would tell you out of one side of their mouth that it's just condensation, and then also
we don't disagree that geoengineering projects exist.
So
the claim about the chemtrails
a bona fide
gentlemen, I'm going to make a kind reminder that we're not going to interrupt each other because all of the audience only hears between all of you. So please be mindful of your speaking time. Let's go one at a time. And if we can't do that, I'll make you raise your hands. Okay.
If I could have the floor, if that's okay.
Sure.
Thank you. Yes, Ray Charles, we are very aware that geoengineering is a thing, as Toon and I both pointed out in our intros. That is not the same thing as the lines.
Part of the definition.
I do apologize that the middle of my sentence interrupted the beginning of yours. That is terribly rude of me.
Didn't your intro include a definition of chemtrails that included
maybe I could finish
modification?
the thing I was saying. Is that okay?
Maybe you could quit being so sissy. Go ahead.
Is that okay if I finish what I'm saying before you start talking?
I'll allow it, but I can't guarantee you'll get to go on forever. Go ahead.
Okay, so once again, we defined the difference between geoengineering and chemtrails. And to be very, very clear, those things behind passenger jets are not chemtrails. That is the subject of this debate.
Oh, man, you guys keep refining it. You take away the goalposts, so it can't be weather modification.
Well, he
it can't be passenger
He just
death.
said this is chemtrails, and he redefined chemtrails with his own definition. So, and then also, I don't know if I'm supposed to, the other picture of Kreg, if I'm supposed to address that as that weird other thing. I don't know what the hell is going on with this.
Kreg 1 and Kreg 2?
Yeah, like is it Kreg 1, Kreg 2, or this? Because the one has a 2 on it. I think so.
It's Kreg A and Kreg 1.
They came into the same deep underground base as the
let me interrupt just for an audio thing. Flo, I think you're still running off the different mic or something because it's coming in like it's coming in from your laptop. Okay, Benjamin, go ahead.
So this second Kreg 2 something, he is also then not only making up his own definition of chemtrails and making us try to defend his definition, which chemtrails is anything that's not a contrail, which is water vapor in the sky. Oh yeah, we believe in some chemtrails, but we've decided we're not going to fight you on those. So really, you already admitted we win. But then you said you said we're making the positive claim. Now the funny thing is I didn't hear the flow state, and I certainly didn't claim any. I knew what any trail was at all, but in your total opening statement, and I'm talking about part 2 of it, I guess is what I should call it instead of part 1, since you got 2 parts of an opening statement. In the second part, you dedicated quite a bit of your time to the chemical composition, which actually Flo even interrupted and made a laugh about it. And then you made a comment about how that wasn't even English, as you were making a very positive claim about knowing exactly what these trails are. And all Flo and I did was say, hey, look, there's open companies saying, look, we spray other shit besides water vapor. I don't know how their planes work. I don't own one of those companies. So you expect me to make a positive claim on, because you've said that doesn't work out. Now you want me to make a positive claim on how all this shit works, when all I got to do is say, hey, there's a company doing it. I don't have to work for them.
According to Looney Tune, you also have to have flown a plane, done maintenance on a plane, built a plane.
No, I didn't say that at all.
Toon, quick question. How many times did we interrupt them while they were talking there?
Oh, we didn't.
Oh, my God.
Oh, right, we didn't. Right, just to double check. Yeah.
You just did.
So to be clear, both Toon and I pointed out how geoengineering is a real thing and no one with a brain denies it.
Are those chemicals?
I got like 1 sentence in.
Yeah,
Please
let him
give me the
finish,
respect
Flo.
of letting me finish my thought. Once again, nobody is denying the existence of geoengineering projects with chemicals, but the subject of this debate is chemtrails, and chemtrails are very well known as those things behind passenger planes. That is the subject of this debate. If you have evidence that the government is doing some secret shady stuff by spraying things and not telling people, that is the subject of this debate. If you're just going to agree with us that geoengineering is a thing and is different from contrails, then you should have stayed in your mum's basement instead of joining us today.
So nobody ever has said that it's passenger planes, which is why you're including that caveat, I assume, because this is not the pattern of passenger planes.
Those are passenger planes right there.
No, this is passenger planes.
Yep.
Yes.
God damn, I don't even know what to say to that. You don't think that this? Okay, you don't.
I easily said, and I didn't ever interrupt you, gentlemen. I was on mute even, so my animals wouldn't make noise. So you group
could I just quickly share the screen, please?
No, Kreg.
There you go. There goes your halo.
Kreg,
could I just could I please share the screen if that's okay?
Sure.
All right, thank you. Let me choose the right screen.
But
yeah, this one here.
As in my opening.
Yeah. So if is it sharing there?
80%.
My goodness.
Right.
My
Yeah,
goodness,
so
Kreg is interrupting.
just
All right,
one
go
sec,
ahead,
guys. If you
Kreg.
could.
Go ahead, Kreg.
Yeah, thank you, guys. I've just literally Googled definition of chemtrails, and I'm going to read what it says here. A visible trail left in the sky by an aircraft and believed by some to consist of chemical or biological agents released as part of a covert operation rather than the condensed water of a vapor trail. To be very clear, that is the subject of this debate. Please stick to it.
Is it a chemical released by an airplane?
Please
So
stick
go back
to
to
subject
the-
of the
sorry,
debate.
We are.
screen.
We're defining a chemtrail.
Is it
Chemtrail.
chemical
Oh,
or
Craig,
is
you
it
got to bring
water?
it back up on screen. He
Yeah,
Chemical
has
could you
some
just put that back up?
Yeah,
Okay,
sorry.
yeah.
short-term memory loss
So,
there.
This is an ortho tech.
What I'll do is I'll highlight it for you guys. I'll
Yeah.
highlight it for you. Would this help?
That's very kind of you.
I know there's
Can
no
you make it
pictures.
bigger?
It might be a
Chemical
problem.
Can you zoom in
or
for him?
water?
Yeah, I can. If I
Gentlemen,
just zoom in,
gentlemen,
that's not hard enough. Now make it bigger. That's better. That maybe they
There
struggle to
we
read.
go.
A little
That's what
further,
she
a little
said.
more, a little more.
A little more, yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Maybe Toon, if you read it.
Too
you
far,
need
too
to
far.
I'll
imagine
read-
that.
I
all
don't
right,
like it
I
like
can
this.
read
Back it out.
A visible trail left in the sky by an aircraft and believed by some to consist of chemical or biological agents resulting are released as part of a covert operation rather than the condensed water of a vapor trail, which is what I exactly covered in my intro.
Yeah. So, do you have evidence of that happening? And then we can discuss the top of this debate.
I do
or
have
you
evidence.
can keep crying because your mother hasn't brought you your pop
So,
tarts today.
so first of all, let's make it perfectly clear that
I see.
you
Okay,
have
what?
lost this debate from the get-go. When
All
you
right,
open
Austin,
when
calm
your
down.
opening statement says chemtrails don't include geoengineering,
Are you
chemicals.
done with the screen, Craig?
Yes,
No,
yes.
leave it-
as
no,
long
I-
as
that's
I
leave it
understand.
up.
That's an immediate concession
They're confused by
and then
it.
trying to move the goalposts over. So I'm not allowing that, but I can move on to the next one as long as we establish that.
No, you know what? I think I have a good.
I'm playing
good
whack-a-mole.
clarification here.
I'm not conceding the first one.
Gentlemen, listen, if I have to mom you through this whole conversation, we're not going to get anywhere. So chill out. All right. We'll all get our little talking stick and we can all take turns. All right. One at a time. Go ahead, MC.
All right, so to clarify then, so that we can have some agreement on this, it seems to me that they are not making any claims about what is behind passenger jets, and their only thing is talking about the geoengineering projects, not about what's behind passenger planes.
Correct. We're not following that weird little caveat
Craig,
that's never been.
Hold on a second. I wasn't done.
Well,
Craig
you
and
seem
I.
confused. I cleared it up for you.
You seriously,
Flo,
you're
get a
just-
piece of
you're
paper and a
just little
pencil,
child.
and before you feel the need to
I'm your
talk,
daddy.
write it down
Take some
instead.
notes.
Okay.
Take some notes. All right. So Craig and I and you, all four of us, are in agreement that geoengineering projects exist and that airplanes spray things like silver oxide to seed clouds.
Okay.
All four of us are in 100% agreement on that. If that is your only claim, is that those things exist, and Craig and I are in complete agreement with this, we can end the debate right now.
Question: is silver oxide and
You
aluminum?
mean you can concede the debate right now?
Are those toxic substances that they spray to in order for the geoengineering?
All right, wait, you didn't answer the question.
And also,
Is that the only thing that you're claiming that chemtrails are?
And actually, that wasn't even the first thing that they tried for cloud seeding. It was actually CO2 pellets and numerous other things.
Yeah,
Let's
dry
not
ice
even
was
talk
in my
about
intro.
the Tuskegee experiment where things like that where they've sprayed it. Lots of things.
But
I don't know what
are
the
they-
hell.
are
all of these things we agree with? Yeah.
Okay.
It's
But
only
are
it's
these
only- and
are
this
these
is
toxic?
weird. Hey,
Pardon
Craig,
me. Go ahead,
Craig-
Benjamin.
Craig, and this is weird because Craig, on your second name, you didn't put CM2, you put MC2. I don't understand why you got that a little mixed up. Now because once I put my glasses on, I noticed that's where I was having a problem. And yeah, so but there's been
You should put your
numerous
glasses
things.
on so you can't see them.
So
because
if I can answer
Was that
if I can
silver
answer Powder
iodide?
Snow's question.
Was that silver iodide that they sprayed in the Tuskegee experiment?
Yeah. So if I can answer what the question that Powder posed, which is silver iodine toxic? Well, to answer that, I'm going to pose you a question: is water toxic?
No.
Yes, it is. Water.
I understand what you're
kill
doing here.
you.
You're trying,
if you ingest too much water, it can be toxic to your body.
If you ingest too much of anything, it can kill you.
Is
right.
toxic
So what you're
if there is
what you're
too much of
telling
it.
me is you're obscuring what toxic means to the point where nothing is toxic now, or everything is toxic. You're
Toxic is a
completely
relative
obliterating
thing.
the meaning of the question.
Toxic is a
even though it's
relative
perfectly
thing.
clear.
Yeah,
This is what fucking losers do. They have to manipulate language.
I know you're angry that you didn't get
Losers
your
have to manipulate language.
Toxic is a relative thing and is dependent on a bunch of variables. Now, is silver iodine toxic to us? Yes, in large quantities. Is it toxic to us in the amount that they spray into the atmosphere? Absolutely not.
Is it toxic to the bees?
Yeah, that's what the fucking the little thalidomide bee, or however that shit was pronounced, babies and all
In
kinds
large
of people.
quantities, yes, it is toxic to the bees, but not in the quantities that they sprayed into the sky.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you have evidence otherwise, this is the thing. If you have evidence that the geoengineering projects that have taken place have been damaging to any kind of life forms, then please present that evidence, and then present evidence that it is still going on. Because the point of this debate is that the government are doing something secret and shady and trying to do something crazy to kill us or something. And then you are trying to change the topic of debate from what is the known definition of chemtrails.
You're trying to make it so that we have to prove somebody's intention.
In your definition, where you tried to pin it on us, it said some believe. That it didn't say all. And so I fully fit in the definition of it, because I don't believe that second part. It
okay, well, you can leave then.
You know what?
This debate's
I think this is a good chance. This is the problem here. Kreg and I use the definition for chemtrail that is the common definition. It seems that you two have a different definition for chemtrail that you're talking about. Maybe if you two could just clarify specifically. I was really just talking.
Yeah,
I was nearly done when your impulse control just kicked in there, right? So if you could just very specifically.
Well, you guys get to talk twice. I don't know what your deal is, Kreg.
All right, Ben.
It's over now.
It's getting old.
Go ahead,
quick.
MC. Go ahead, MC.
Very, very old, very fast.
You all right?
This isn't the dumpster fire portion of the debate, right?
Excellent
I
point.
expect that during the dumpster fire portion of it. Okay.
Man, sack up. Come on. What were you trying to say?
So, Sarah, you're going to need to be a little more aggressive on the moderating.
That's going to work.
Kreg 2 is going to filibuster after Kreg 1 talks.
What were you trying? Hold on, Ben.
All right,
what were you trying to say?
Stop. Okay, we get the Kreg 1, Kreg 2 joke. It's done and it's old now and it's not part of the argument and it's not being productive. We're going to put that one to the side, save it for later. All right, MC, you were saying something. Go ahead and please finish.
All right. I would very much appreciate it if they could define for the audience what chemtrail means to them, so that we can all have the same definition that we're working on.
Also, what their problem with it is.
Okay, so let's look at the word chem. What do you suppose chem means? Chemical. Oh shit, chemical. And then trail.
Right.
Trail. This thing in the sky that stands out. That's
the clouds, the trails left behind planes that are chemicals intentionally put out in the atmosphere that are not. That's not condensation, right? It's a pretty simple one. It's a much
not frozen water,
right?
No. What? Say that. What did you say?
Trails of chemicals intentionally sprayed into the environment, not contrails.
Okay, so behind passenger planes.
Any plane behind planes.
Okay, so it is exactly what I specifically said. So there are two different classifications: the geoengineering ones that Kreg and I don't disagree with at all, and the ones behind passenger planes that you can see in the sky. Those are the ones we are talking about. Since we all agree that the others exist, there's no problem with that at all. We don't disagree. Not really something to have a discussion about. So it's specifically about what is behind passenger planes.
There at no point ever in either any definition or has anybody ever said passenger planes. Passenger plane has nothing to do with it. The type of plane has nothing
in the prompt somewhere.
It's not in the prompt. It's not in the definition either of them provided.
It's the known definition that the majority of the world, anyone with a functioning brain uses and knows.
No problem.
Hope harder.
Yes.
Yeah, so during the one of the problems that you can identify is that during the boogeyman in the airtime, that private flights dropped off 80+%.
We're aware of this.
We're all pretty aware that most people weren't doing anything but sitting home. Commercial flights dropped off 70%. Weirdly, MIT, and I feel like you guys are all right with MIT. It's not neonatal or something. That they've been tracking that on an independent study to do the effects. Now they aren't sampling them; they're just using satellite imagery to check coverage. And oddly, even though there was almost no commercial jets, no private jets flying, in between them, an 75 to 80% reduction, but only 20% reduction on chemtrails.
Interesting.
Or on trails. That's very interesting. I didn't make a positive claim on what's in any of these. I only heard you guys making positive claims on what's inside them. And I've never been up into the chemtrails with like a container, grabbing them. I don't know what it is, but I know that the people that are known to fly, that do stuff that I can easily track, they all quit flying. But
and backstage, there's the PubMed paper about bees dying because of increased aluminum levels.
Does it say the aluminum levels came from geoengineering?
Yeah, you're gonna have to prove that.
It does not say that. It doesn't.
Oh, right. So it's relevant to the discussion then. Cool.
No, not at all.
Which is asserted without evidence is dismissed without evidence.
Yeah.
Let's use a little. Let's apply a little bit because this is not the point of the research. It's the point of the research is to find out what's killing bees. What's killing bees is aluminum. They're not.
Oh wait, is this debate about what's killing bees?
Well, you totally changed the topic of the debate.
You just asked for that, didn't you? Just ask for any evidence that the chemicals being sprayed.
I asked for evidence that chemtrails.
There we go.
Are killing.
So what's the number one chemical being sprayed out of these geoengineering planes?
I don't know. It's your claim.
It's aluminum.
Where's that?
Can you show us the evidence that the number one thing sprayed out of the planes?
You haven't looked at any of the evidence I've put backstage for you so far.
I think the relatability flow would have to be, you'd have to prove that chemtrails are real in that regard first in order
Sarah,
to...
you're roboting a bit.
No,
Am I?
No.
Well, I guess that was
it might
me.
be you. It might be you.
Yeah.
You have to but you have to start with proving that the chemtrails are real and that then they would,
contain aluminum.
return you to effect based on, if you're going to run the line of logic, that would affect the bees, right? You can't.
All right.
Like utilizing
I
the
can
bees.
do it for them because they want to drag their feet to the grave, but that's fine. Give me a second.
And you also have to tell us how often the geoengineering has happened and the percentage of the aluminium that has then been put into the air and the toxic amount of aluminium to bees and the percentage that has come from chemtrails versus other ways of aluminium getting into the environment.
How the delivery is done, because aluminum is a solid.
I mean,
that's amazing.
That wouldn't be hard to think through. Obviously, you wouldn't be spraying aluminum bricks. It's an aerosol.
Have you ever seen ash in the air or dust?
I noticed that you guys.
Wait, so we changed it from chemtrails to dust.
Hold on. Let Benjamin finish.
I noticed you guys keep complaining we aren't making positive claims. And that's, I'm 100% positive. Here's a positive claim for you, that you guys were waiting for bad positive claims for us, hoping we'd say some really crazy shit. So that way you can fight the crazy shit, when the fact is chemtrails are a known thing that they do in many different ways.
Outside, not the stuff we disagree with.
The debate is, are chemtrails real?
Yeah,
geoengineering is not chemtrails.
Yeah. This is a classic Mott and Bailey fallacy here. The Mott being the thing that we know exists, right?
Okay.
So it's a Bailey. We know that geoengineering exists. The Mott is the things behind airplanes that are passenger airplanes and things that the picture that Fluffy put up earlier.
So you're wanting us. What is it you're wanting us to prove then? If it's not that planes are spraying chemicals into the atmosphere, that is not contrails.
Yes. So you need to show that it's something other than burned kerosene that is in behind the passenger planes. Unless you don't make that claim.
Aside from kerosene or aside from geoengineering chemicals, right?
If you don't know, we've already stated that we agree on those.
And you know how much of it's geoengineering chemicals by your positive claim. I'm waiting for the proof. You to put up the proof of how much of it that because you're you've made the positive claim. I realize
You got
you're trying
the
to bait
formula.
us into doing it.
Yes, I
and
put
then
the
gonna
formula
go,
up.
Well,
for-
you
for
don't know how
kerosene
much. Well, I'm waiting for you to prove how much. Where you made the positive claims, guys.
I showed
all that. Prove that
Yeah, we
most
showed
of
you.
it's water and a certain number of it's chemical. Show us.
We did.
No, you didn't.
We showed you the formula to calculate it.
Yeah. Did you not?
I know
understand
maths
that?
is a little bit beyond your pay grade.
The burn formula. You can give me a formula. That's not evidence of something.
Yeah,
Did-
so
Well, of
did
course, you
anybody
would say
how
that because
much
you're
I mean,
scientifically
formula was?
illiterate.
Did
Yes.
that tell me
I can tell you that I can.
put it
Okay.
in the tank
Plus,
and you
least
burn
squared
it.
equals
Hold
c
on,
squared.
let-
Does that prove
let-
that we live on a
Let
triangle?
I think MC was trying to answer your question.
MC is always trying to answer. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, that's the point of a debate. You ask a question and we answer.
Yeah. So jet fuel is well known to be kerosene, and that's what you put into a plane. And when you burn it, because how jet engines work is well understood. I'm not going to walk through that. If you don't understand that, that's on you. But
Pretty clean burning, aren't they?
They are very clean burning. So you burn that, and that's what you get. You get carbon dioxide and water out of that transaction. So that is water vapor in the air.
What was the name of the
and
fallacy
dew
that you
point-
said where
Hold
we're
on.
covering the thing that everybody knows?
And the dew point is what determines whether or not there's a visible condensation or not. So that is all well established science. I've made that positive claim, and I've supported it with the backing physics. Now,
No.
now
also
if
made
you
a
think
positive
there's
claim
something
of how much,
No,
that's what we're
if
waiting
you
for you to
think
answer
there's-
in your diatribe.
if you think there's something other than burned kerosene in there, then you have the burden of proof. But if you don't think there is something other than burned kerosene in there, then we are in agreement.
Nobody's arguing with jet fuel.
Yeah,
Cool.
you keep
Good
trying
job.
to answer a question
we're
we
done.
didn't ask.
Sarah, we're done.
Our question was
Hold on.
your positive claim of how much contrail versus chemtrail there is, because you guys, we didn't ask the chemical formula. We didn't ask about how kerosene and jet
I don't think
engines
we
work.
made that claim.
We didn't ask none of that shit. In fact, I'm not even arguing.
Yeah, we
Guys,
didn't make that claim.
not
We're
even
just making up
arguing.
a claim that we've made.
You guys said that it's mostly just water vapor. How do you know? How do you know the percentages? Please do show me the percentages
So,
of what's
contrails?
chemtrail and what's contrail.
We know the things you see in the sky behind passenger jets, they're contrails.
Can you establish that besides just restating the claim?
Yes.
Okay.
You can work out the chemical that will be released after the jet fuel burns and releases combustion. You will have water mainly as the chemical that is released, because obviously water is technically a chemical.
Equal water and carbon dioxide, actually.
Yeah, you have water and carbon dioxide and a bit of soot and dirt and stuff.
Right,
That
right.
is
That's
the
that's the
chemicals.
normal
I'm in the middle of
combustion.
talking. Hold your
Yeah,
horses.
but you're answering.
I'm
You're
in the
answering a
middle of
straw
talking.
man.
Hold on. Hey, let me offer a translation that I think might be applicable. I may be wrong. So Kreg and MC are saying this is what comes out of the tail end of the airplane, right? Based on the fuel, so on and so forth.
Yep.
They provided a formula. I'm guessing that came from
Chemistry.
yeah.
Physics,
Okay.
yeah.
So
Chemistry.
that's basic physics, which
It's
that
chemistry.
to me would be like proof in and of itself of what would like how physics operate in terms of aerodynamics and all that fun stuff. All right, but Benjamin and Flo, you are saying that it's not the stuff that's
No.
in there. You're
He's
saying
he's saying that's the only
He's-
thing that comes out of the back of planes, and then he's
Okay.
giving us the formula for combustion.
so then
But
what
we're
I
not.
will
Hold on, let me explain. It's
Okay.
we're not confused about combustion, right? That's good. We're saying, how does he know that's the only thing coming out of the back of planes?
Okay, but the burden of proof lies on you with the question. It says, are chemtrails real? You have the affirmative stance.
So-
Therefore, you have to provide the proof that it is. So
Well,
if you're
we
saying,
open
hold
this-
on. Hold on.
Mhm.
Let me get the translation out. So what I'm saying is if you believe there is something different coming out of the tail end, then that is what you're needing to prove in this conversation. Instead of just saying, right, you're providing physics, but the physics are great, but there's something else added in. Well, then that's what you need to provide. Does that make sense?
So
It does.
Then you're. but
Am
the whole
I?
thing is-
Hold on, let me make sure. MC and
I-
Craig, am I saying that right? Does that make
Yeah,
sense
we
to you?
agree with that.
Very
Yeah.
much.
Okay. I think that
So-
that's where we're sitting here. So the burden falls to you to prove otherwise, because physics is physics, right? That would be hard to deny that.
Nobody's hung up on that.
Okay.
I mean,
The
where
issue is that they
switcheroo
start off
happened,
by
though,
saying,
Sarah. Here's
Sarah.
where the switcheroo happened. They've actually already admitted that there are planes that spray chemicals. Then now there's a secondary positive claim, which is which planes are doing it. I don't know. I don't know how it works. I don't know what any given plane is spraying out the back.
All right, let me answer that.
You're in the wrong place.
Positive claim.
Yeah. Right. Can I answer that question before you continue to waffle?
Wait till I'm done talking? Because you can
you're
answer
gonna
it. Yeah,
you've asked the question.
Sure.
Let me
Or are
answer
you
it.
just going to keep talking while I'm
Finish,
talking?
Ben. Go ahead and finish the statement, and then we'll
now made the
redirect it
positive
to.
claim that they know exactly which planes are spraying what. We never said that.
Let me answer that.
And so now they've got to stand up for their positive claim, and they're asking us to say we know
in circles. Let me answer your question.
These planes.
Okay, go ahead, Kreg
Right,
or
cool.
MC.
Yeah, the answer is they tell you when they are spraying. If there is any geoengineering happening, the rules are that they have to announce it, and it's publicly available knowledge. And any passenger jet that you can track doesn't spray chemicals because they don't have anywhere to store them. So that answers your question.
Of course, passenger jets don't.
Let me just
let Tombs talking.
So the link that you sent, the very first link, why does NOAA collect information about weather modification? The Weather Modification Reporting Act of 1972 requires that all persons who conduct weather modification activities within the United States or its territories report such activities to the U.S. Secretary of Commerce at least 10 days prior to and after undertaking the activities. Failure
That's why I thought this was such a stupid
can
position for you
result
guys
in
to take.
fines of up to $10,000. So if you think that the stuff behind passenger planes are this, and if you don't think that they are, then we're in complete agreement. But if you think that they are, then these things would be things that could be reported to NOAA for a $10,000 fine per incident. So
you keep throwing the passenger plane in there and hoping it sticks.
Question, right?
You keep hoping the passenger plane part of it sticks, but it's never going to stick.
Okay, so you don't think that passenger planes are doing that? Is that your case?
Take the word passenger out of your vocabulary. Nobody cares about passengers except you're trying to bring something in to make it so you're not losing.
We've answered the question. The question was, how do you know which ones are which? The answer is they tell you so you can go and look.
Okay, that's great, but still, again, nobody's over here is concerned about passenger.
Okay.
Y'all are trying to find something to move past the goalpost.
Craig, I think we're in agreement.
If that answer is so easy,
we've won.
Then you should be able to tell me what percentage is chemtrails and what percentage are contrails, which is the question I asked like 20 minutes ago.
There is no debate here.
There is still a debate.
Sarah made it clear that if they think that chemtrails are a thing, then they have the burden of evidence. That's the prompt for the debate. But so far, it sounds like they agree that geoengineering projects exist. So do we. They do not make any claims about passenger planes, and I'm fine with that. We are done. There is nothing left to discuss.
Can you find me the word passenger in the email and the prompt anywhere before literally right now when you guys are talking?
We've
No, you can't. No, you can't. Y'all motherfuckers are grabbing for something to save you. The debate that we're still having is whether or not you lost.
Hold
you could very clearly end this question right now by stating whether or not you think that passenger planes do
want you
have
to find the word passenger in the email that we got to get here.
Just have the balls to say.
It's the known definition.
Let me make sure I understand here, gentlemen. So, Flo and Benjamin, are you saying that it's not passenger planes? You're saying it's another plane, or are you saying it's just mixed in all together?
We're making no claim about the type of plane. They're trying to restrict the definition to
going with
make
the
it so they
known
didn't
Let me
lose.
ask this then. Where do you think the chemtrails are coming from, or is there a specification?
No, there's no specification.
So I didn't make a claim on positively where they came from, but I did lay out the positive information that it's easily tracked down. And this is you can go to airport reporting. There was a giant drop in commercial flights, all
Yeah,
commercial
we know that. You've
Yeah, we know
repeatedly
that.
said this
All
4 times.
private
You don't need to say it again.
Third time, yeah.
The trail coverage of, and again, MIT doesn't.
I think
go
he's just got like a few
Yeah.
phrases.
Hold
like,
on,
just
Ben,
hold
we
on,
got
let me
that.
finish.
the
God,
total
you
trail
forgot
coverage.
already.
So I don't know who's doing it, but the trails are still there. And you guys
So
keep making
what
these claims
trails
that
are still
they're from
there?
these jets.
What
that are just
trails
leaving
are still
water?
there?
Well, then
What
why
trails
did
are
it?
still
Then
there?
why
Let
did they
him- let him
fire
finish,
when
Craig.
the planes all got
What
grounded?
trails are
Who's
still
doing
there?
it? I don't know.
You talk so much. What trails are still there?
Ask MIT.
Yeah.
No.
The answer
You
the
just-
answer
you
is
just
the
said
answer
trails
is
are
we
still
make
there.
no claim.
What trail?
Hmm.
Can I ask-
MIT is
just-
not
guys,
in the
stop.
debate tonight.
Please, right. Please.
MIT
Dude,
registered how
wait,
much
wait,
trail
stop,
coverage
stop.
there
Let me
was.
stop,
Gentlemen,
please. Jesus
enough.
Christ, man.
You were trying to
just
interrupt
said,
the shit
will
out
you
of me.
stop and let me answer? Please,
Hold-
Jesus Christ.
Gentlemen, I'm about to go mom on all your asses because you're all doing it to each other. So please, at least just wait for the person to finish.
Look how
okay?
stressed MC is.
Okay, let me. So, you just said the trails are still there. Balderson, what trails are you referring to?
Whatever MIT is referring to, there was only a 20%. They don't make a claim of what.
No,
any
you just said the
particular
trails are still
trail
there.
is.
What
You guys
trails?
are the only ones doing that, telling us you know what comes out of any given.
Sarah,
any
can you
given
ask me the
jet or
question?
plane.
Because it's like it's
You're
going
the
through
only
and he's
ones
not
doing
listening.
that.
No, in
I
fact,
can't answer. This dude cries like a little liberal girl
Like,
every time.
Sarah, can you please ask him the questions?
I
Because
will
it's every time I ask him, he says
I
something
will
else.
translate to you, Benjamin, that if your answer when he's saying where are the chemtrails and you're saying I don't know, which means okay, well then what are your sources here in this particular conversation? Where's this coming from? Because if you're saying yes, they are real, essentially you have to have proof
He
behind why
already
they're
said
real.
MIT.
Right.
He already said
but
MIT. He's already, and I don't know why he even went into the diatribe again. We've already covered that. It was MIT. And
MIT said what?
No, we were not making any
What
claim as
did
to where the
MIT
planes
say?
come from.
What
They
did
said
MIT
that the
say?
It said, "Come pick
are
up your
still
mom. She's
there.
been
One
at
of
my
you
house
talk
too
at a
long."
time.
Even though the
One of you
planes
at a
have
time.
planes and stuff,
Jesus
right.
Christ.
You're all a fucking wrecking ball. My goodness. I thought
MIT
this was going to
said
be more
what?
fun.
One of you please answer.
It said, "Come
MIT
get your
said
mom.
what?
She's drunk and I'm tired of her."
Right. MIT said what? Please, one of you answer.
Yeah, please
That's it.
give the clarification on MIT, Benjamin. You made the claim. I'd like to hear further.
What they're trying to do is get me to make a claim on how much.
No, I'm
of
just
any
asking what you're
trail-
talking about.
Right.
Hold
I mean,
on,
you
Craig.
decided
Hold
to
on,
get them
Craig.
shit
Hold
for
on,
this.
Craig.
And you can't yell at him because they're girls.
MIT said what?
Fellow girls, but
Craig.
tell this
Craig.
woman to shut up
MIT
for a minute.
said what?
Hold on, Craig. Let him talk.
MIT said what, Balderson? What did MIT say? Be specific.
Can I answer without you opening your pie hole? Do you need to mute?
Just
You
actually
need some
answer.
self-control.
The four of you are children.
You didn't have it, Van.
Craig will be quiet. Balderson, go ahead.
So MIT said that trail coverage, again, like I've explained numerous times, that it only dropped 22%. Now, then you turn around and you go to flight logs for commercial and private, and you notice that commercial and private flights of all kinds, whether they're cargo, whether they're whatever, dropped by 70% and 80%. So there is a giant discrepancy that apparently you can't get a hold of who's doing that. And these are leaving some kind of a trail, and I don't know what it is. And guess what?
Who's leaving what kind of trail? That's what you keep saying.
I don't know. See, you keep trying to make me
But
make
what
it
trails
extra
are you
hard.
referring to there?
Can I, Sarah?
Go ahead,
wait.
Go ahead, MC.
First, let me answer
this
this question quickly. I know where he's going and where the problem is. He thinks that every single plane that flies has a contrail.
It's a 1-to-1 ratio. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the case. Even if global air travel dropped by 80%. That does not mean there will be a direct ratio in the drop of contrails. Not every plane releases a contrail. There are many factors depending on how high it is, the temperature, the humidity. So your argument falls apart because there is no correlation in the way that you are thinking. I don't know why you're nodding, because you've just debunked yourself.
No, he didn't. Because
Those
trails have to come from somewhere. Hold on. Ben, first of all, shut up, Ben. Ben, you overtalked, and so now we're defending something that's not even important. You fucked up there. Now, but it did make sense anyways. It did make sense anyways, because if it's not passenger J planes flying around, but there's still the same amount of trails floating in the sky.
We just explained that. We literally just explained that. We literally just explained that. Toon, can you try? Because this is like talking
Go ahead,
to a child.
give it a try too.
No,
Come, Rubik's Cube. I want to hear from you because number one didn't explain it well. He didn't explain anything actually. He just asked questions. What is that? Is that Zima?
Toon, you want to try? I thought I'd explained it, and
the problem is
understanding.
They don't know how to participate in a debate here. The critical thing in a debate is I got Debater's Guide here.
Oh, good.
I recommend getting this book. The critical thing in a debate is each side has a positive claim, right? Page 22 right here. We've got the debater should understand three more terms at this point. Burden of proof, burden of rebuttal, and burden of communication. The burden of proof is a primary rule in any argument or debate. It first requires the affirmative to bear the burden of proving the proposition. What is your proposition? You don't know your proposition. Subsequently,
yes.
it requires every
doesn't want to hear it
speaker
again.
Hold on. Stop, Flo. Enough.
Why is he teaching us this shit?
It's fine. Obviously, this debate is gone array, so it's might as well let him explain to you why you're being retarded right now.
No,
I get it. I
It's
get
a debate
exactly.
about how to have a debate. That's what happened here.
I agree with
What's the first one again? Toon, what's the first one?
Flo, I already explained this to you earlier, and he's giving you literally the book's guide of what I.
What is the first thing you said there? The first point.
I'm done. You interrupted me.
Oh my God, you big fucking baby. The first thing was know your claim, right?
Yeah.
What was my claim? Have I stated my claim?
No, you
that
won't make a claim.
That's part of the problem, dude.
You won't make a claim.
Planes spraying chemicals, not condensation. And then you guys go, whoa, oh, we know that they spray that. That's geoengineering.
Which planes?
Yeah, which planes specifically are you talking about?
Which planes?
That one.
Which one?
So you understand that that's a secondary positive claim. Yeah. You're trying to force
you
on
don't
us
know
after
which
your
one
concession of the actual claim, which you concede, and they're like, yeah, but you can't beat us in this one now.
Nobody disagrees that geoengineering is a thing. All right. What is your claim?
Will you acknowledge
by the very nature
one
of
at
the
a time?
way you state it, you're claiming that more of them are contrails than chemtrails is what you're claiming now, because you're already conceding that chemtrails.
Yes, we can tell you the exact amount. Now
you're trying to force us when you're claiming already that more of them are contrails. When let me see that proof. Where's the percentage?
Every single line. Oh, you still good. Let me be clear to you. Every single line you see in the sky is a contrail, not a chemtrail. If there are any chemtrails, they are not lines in the sky like you see behind passenger jets. They are other things, and they will tell you before they are doing it. That is how you can find out the exact percentage of what is contrails versus chemtrails by looking at the information available.
So I hate to point out to you, but when you read that law, it said persons need to report. That doesn't include government contractors. That doesn't include all kinds of different things.
Yes, it does.
And as I pointed out, and there's actual easy statistics
yes, it does.
to back this up.
Yes, it does. You're wrong.
Yeah, because the government never sprays things without telling us what they're spraying. That's how the Tuskegee experiment happened.
Hold on,
Get
Craig.
back in the lane.
And so when you
Hold on,
were-
Craig. Hold on.
He's just saying wrong the whole time I'm talking.
Craig.
Sorry.
Greg, look what you're
Hold
doing to your
up,
partner.
stop.
You're going to kill your partner.
Stop. Craig, you are
All
the
right.
biggest complainer of being interrupted, and you're doing
Yeah,
this
sorry.
the
He
whole
was just
time.
waffling a thing he'd already
I
said,
will-
so I was
I
just
will
mocking
read-
him.
I will
Because
read.
the thing I
Hold on,
said is
hold
you
on.
guys keep pretending like I didn't say that
Yeah.
thing that I said,
Yeah.
and like that doesn't
We've
bear.
already answered
And
you.
the whole thing is
Yeah,
you
here we
guys
go.
keep saying passenger planes don't leave the trail. I'm not even fighting that. Neither did Flo in any way, shape, or form. Because when they
Craig.
Sorry. If he's on repeat, then there's no point in listening
Well,
to it.
you
You know?
asked me to say it. You keep asking the same for
And we've already
not to make
answered
a
the
positive
question.
claim
I don't know why you'd
and
ask it
not
again.
answering to the positive
have
claim
answered
you
it.
guys make.
We've answered it specifically. I just did it.
And when
So
I
if
try
you
to
ask-
answer, you don't shut the fuck up.
I
You're
answered
like
you
my ex-wife,
specifically.
only you're fucking uglier.
Sarah,
Did he just say I don't shut the fuck up?
Gentlemen, enough.
mute all three of them, please.
I might actually. I normally don't mute gentlemen, but I'm gonna have to do this tonight because you're all getting on my fucking nerves. All right, and if I need to do this the whole night, I will. Go ahead, MC.
You might not. You might need to. All right. He made the claim that that persons don't include corporations. Quote from 15 U.S. Code 330.
No, I didn't.
Thanks, Sarah.
You can pretend that. I'm just
Stop unmuting the. Okay, we're just gonna do this. All right, go ahead, MC.
Thank you.
I might have to do this the whole night.
He very clearly tried to claim that persons, it doesn't include corporations. Quote 15 U.S. Code 330. 2. The term, quote, person, unquote, means any individual, corporation, company, association, firm, partnership, society, joint stock company, any state or local government, or any agency thereof, or any other organization, whether commercial or nonprofit, who is performing weather modification activities, except where acting solely as an employee, agent, or independent contractor of the federal government.
Okay. Balderson, you have something to say back.
I never said corporations. You are the biggest straw man making motherfucker I ever saw. And I understand that that's what you guys are used to fighting, which is why you've been trying to provoke us into making ridiculous positive claims. So that way you guys could be like, well, yeah, see, that's stupid. And that's the only way you guys know how to do things. I get that. I get that you guys have let yourself out of the flat earth debates for a minute, but you actually have to start backing your positive claims up in this way. It's really bad. I said contractors and government contractors do all kinds of shit without reporting it. All kinds of shit. Government agencies. In fact, that's the entire reason they contract. That's why we don't go to war. That's how come, like, during Bill Clinton's time, we weren't at war, because all we did was send contractors and do military actions. So then they don't have to be accountable, and they get to just cut them off when they get caught doing anything. This is a fairly well-known thing. So the straw man shit don't work.
All right.
This is absolute bullshit.
Oh,
Okay.
No, I've had my hand up.
Go ahead. I
yeah.
will say Craig did have his hand up backstage. So
To be clear, you did say that. I've just listened back. Those were your exact words. So short-term memory loss. Not sure what the problem is there. Yeah, and we have agreed that there are people that spray, but every single people that spray chemicals for geoengineering, all of them, contractors, agencies, people, all of them have to and do report it. If you have evidence, which was just your positive claim of they don't all report it, if you have evidence that they don't report it, then please present that evidence. Otherwise, that evidence will be dismissed. Our evidence that it is reported is the reports that exist, which dumbass number one over there kindly actually posted already for us.
Yeah, he was just speaking from the hip loosely.
Flo,
There is no.
did you want to say
as far as
something?
me?
Yeah, everybody's had
Am I
their
not saying
turn.
something?
No, I'm just making sure.
Okay, thank you. Mostly I want to check in on Homeboy over there because he looks like, yeah, Bucky's. You all right?
We're going to get back to the debate then. If you can prove that contrails are chemtrails, please go ahead, because that is the debate we are having.
The chemicals in them prove that. So
Which chemicals?
The silver, the aluminum.
And they're in contrails, are they?
They're not in contrails.
Okay, well then you've lost this debate. Thank you for coming.
I thought you just agreed with the geoengineering.
No, no one disagrees with geoengineering.
Okay. So the issue here is that, I don't know, maybe we need to ask.
You have a brain
maybe we
injury
need
as
to
a
ask
child.
Sarah. Maybe we need to ask somebody who's not got a conflict of interest here, whether or not they think that weather modification chemicals count as chemtrails, or whether they think that it has to be a passenger plane.
Toon, would you like me to answer, or do
I think openly for the conversation, I don't think it has to be passenger trains, or passenger planes. I think in terms of the context of the conversation, are chemtrails real? We're not presuming one thing or another in terms of how those trails get there, right? But that you have the burden of proof to show that they are real.
Well, everybody agrees that they're real. They're just trying to carve out the big, obvious, instance of it. Well, that's not really a contrail. That's completely moving the goalpost.
No,
those aren't real. In your opening statement,
all right,
you said they have to be secret.
I said one word. Right. Okay, never mind. I thought you'd finished.
All right. You know what?
The common known definition of chemtrail, the conspiracy. I was in the middle of talking. The known common definition of chemtrails used by conspiracy theorists is referring to the lines left behind passenger jets that you find crisscrossing the sky in a busy day.
Aren't we the conspiracy theorists here?
Yes, you are. That is what we are discussing.
So you're telling me what the
are the ones
common
here
known
saying that
definitions that we
chemtrails
use
are those things. You have the burden of proof to show that there are secret organizations spraying the masses with chemicals, because that is the debate we're having. If not, you shouldn't have come.
So as the conspiracy theorists, you should let us define how we define things for you.
Yeah,
Well,
and I also wonder if the
debate,
if the debate was, is it passenger? Is the chemicals coming out of passenger planes? What's crisscrossing the sky, and are those chemtrails? Because I'm not sure that wasn't the debate, and I don't know what
that is what I assumed the debate was. That's what I assumed the debate was.
You guys conceded the original debate, and
yeah,
now
I took chemtrail to be the thing that all the people say chemtrails are.
Right, Sarah, we appear
I just talked to all the people.
Gentlemen, all three of you, or four of you, are get on your.
Sarah,
Go ahead,
apologies. We appear to have wasted your time. Toon and I came under the assumption that we were here debating the commonly known assumption that the trails left behind jet planes are actually secret
you don't get
chemicals
to claim commonly known like that.
Oh no, I was. Excuse me, I'm talking to Sarah. If you could just keep what I'm talking to Sarah, if you could, yeah. Toon and I came in here under the false assumption that this debate was about whether the lines left behind. Passenger jets that crisscross the sky are in fact secret chemicals sprayed by the government or whatever, and not in fact condensation and moisture known as contrails. We apologize that we came here under the assumption that was debate. These guys seem to think the debate is something completely different, so I do apologize for wasting everybody's time.
You can find the cue to something that really by definition we probably can't prove, right? If it's secret,
of course.
How the fuck can we have proof of it?
That's why it's so ridiculous for people to believe that position.
Yeah. I'm a fairly well-known speaker in the conspiracy world, and funny, none of us put this passenger word that you keep smuggling into it. Nobody puts that in there. They say there's trails up there. Nobody goes, it's passenger.
I just talked to everybody and they said you're lying.
Everybody weird.
No, I spoke to everyone. They said
weird. Stop.
I know.
Stop.
That's what she said.
Flo and Benjamin, where do chemtrails come from?
Sprayed out the back of planes.
Right.
Which ones?
Which planes?
Doesn't matter. That is not relevant to the prompt.
That is exactly all that I'm here for.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
You can't define which planes, like I said, then I have no reason to be here.
Listen to me. If that's why
Greg,
you're
do you
here,
have a
you
reason to
find
be here if they can't
you
define
find
which
any
planes?
time in the
Flo
email.
and Flo and Benjamin, are chemtrails coming out? Is it a possibility that they're coming out of passenger trains? I keep saying fucking
It was
trains.
not. It doesn't matter. It wasn't the
Passenger
prompt at
planes,
all.
jet planes. Well, where do the chemical trails?
Why are we
come
answering
from?
this? Can we? Well, I'll answer it. We'll answer it if we can concede that we've won the point, because that's got nothing to do with the prompt of the debate.
Yeah, sure. You won. Good job. Well done. I bet your mum's proud.
Thank you. Where is it coming from? I don't think it's coming from passenger planes. I think it's coming from private contractors, probably. I don't know, but I would assume that.
So the lines in the sky, are we all referring to the lines of the sky? Can I at least get
No, they're not. We are.
Flo, do you think there are lines in the sky?
Yes.
And what are they?
Lines in the sky. Okay, we're all referring to the lines in the sky. Can we make the argument based on lines in the sky?
Yes, we think the lines in
Okay.
the sky are in fact contrails,
Contrails.
condensation vapors left behind from the combustion of jet engines. Do you two agree with us?
Do not.
Okay.
Right. Do you
let's
have
start there.
evidence that? Yeah. Do you have evidence that the lines we see in the sky are not the things that I've just said?
Which lines specifically are you referring to? Because we're looking at different lines.
The
I mean, I
lines
live
you
in-
see in the sky.
I live in
behind planes.
Kansas City. You sound like you don't live in Kansas City. So
Oh, yeah, I do. I'm 2 doors behind you.
sweet.
I run the local HOA. You haven't paid your fines.
Oh my god.
No, I don't have an HOA.
That's probably why I haven't paid your fines, because you didn't realize. Yeah, so the lines specifically we are talking about are the lines you see behind passenger jets that leave crisscrossing the sky on a busy day. Do you think that they are contrails, condensation vapors, yes or no?
I don't think those are passenger jets crisscrossing the skies. I think you're referencing two different types of planes.
No, we're not.
Yeah, you're
we're
trying to
literally referencing the
pigeonhole us
passenger
into
jets
something.
that you see in the sky.
Those aren't
How do I
passenger
know
jets.
what jets are crisscrossing?
Okay,
the sky
right. You
and
just
doing
said
what?
they're not passenger
All right.
jets. Do you have evidence they're not passenger jets?
That's what I want to come back to for Flo and Benjamin. Okay, because they MC and Kreg have made the claim that those lines in the sky are contrails, correct, gentlemen?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, that's their belief. All right. Now you believe otherwise. So now it is your duty to provide proof that it is something else or explain what else it is. You can
the
say
issue is-
chemtrails, but they have provided the physics behind what they believe. Provide
No.
something.
They didn't, though. That's where you're getting lost. They provided a formula for combustion. That doesn't at all demonstrate that what they're looking at in the sky is just combustion.
They made a
that's
positive
precept.
claim and made no. You wouldn't if we tried to make such a loose positive claim. Like as a matter of fact, Flo did make a loose positive claim where he said it's aluminum and whatnot, and they went, "Well, how do you know it's aluminum? How do you measure how the aluminum affects things?" Blah blah blah, and they went off on an entire thing like that. But they apparently can make loose positive claims and. They don't have to back theirs up, and the press.
So can we establish how you know that it's only condensation coming out the back and nothing else? Condensation and
Yes, because as we've explained several times, if it's something else, they have to say so.
Okay, so can you demonstrate?
I do agree with that.
I agree with that too.
Who sprayed the chemicals for the Tuskegee experiment?
Hold on, that's not even where we need to go. All right, so now, can you show then that the planes that are gridding the sky are not the ones spraying chemicals?
Yes, you can go to planetracker.com and track every single passenger jet in the world. Thank you. Toon, over to you.
Okay. But we'd have to do that in the future. The ones that we've already seen.
This is where Toon talks. He's been waiting patiently.
You don't determine who talks. And
finish your statement, Flo, and then to MC, please.
Okay, so I know how to do homework in the future to look at future planes. How do we know about the past planes that were gridding the sky?
This is the
issue with the.
You can look at the past.
This is the issue with the question.
I'm answering your question. I'm answering your question.
Hold on.
I'm answering your question. You can look at the past flights of planes. Now, please, can we let Toon speak? I've been waiting for him for ages.
All right, the Tuskegee was in the 50s. The law that you cited in your citation is from 1972. So It is after that. But here is this is an important thing because who are person? I just want to make it clear that I was right. Here, just a second here.
Kreg already conceded.
Okay, Austin. We're getting crushed, bro.
Austin. Oh, is that his real name? Is he Austin?
No, it's just you're about as smart as Austin Wits it. So.
All right. So he just claimed, I have his words coming out of his face hole saying that it doesn't include government contractors. And US 15 US code 330 specifically says that persons does include government contractors. So you said it. I called you out for saying it. You lied about not saying it.
All right, congratulations. You scored a circumstantial win on something that wasn't
corporation. I don't figure Dairy Queen's out there doing things without government permission.
Let me just play the words that you said one more time. Everybody listen.
It's not coming through to.
Yeah. Did you want to share screen?
And that's a W to us because he failed. But regardless, this is a tangent debate.
There we go.
Yeah, it didn't come through, bud.
All right. So, you didn't hear it?
Yeah,
No.
you'd have to share screen for the audio to come up.
No, I have it piping through. Just a second. I'll put it in the back channel. Everybody can listen to it on.
Put it in the back.
There you go. Okay. So, he specifically said government contractors. That he claimed that it doesn't include, but it is listed in there in your own citation.
Whoa.
Okay. How do you guys are you guys only able to fight straw men? You keep saying that. I admit I said government contractors, and we all already know government contractors. The whole point to them is so the government can go, oh, we didn't know that they were doing that shit.
There are different requirements.
That's a lovely positive claim. Prove it.
It's called the CIA, dude. Like
everybody knows it.
Well, you do.
Government
contractors. You can have it. Everybody knows it.
Stop. Benjamin, you're making more claims, and that's where we would need something to back it up.
Yeah,
it's okay if you want to make the claim. I agree with like the concept of making a claim. You just have to be able to back it up. It's not just because we just know. That's not an answer.
Well, that's constantly reports that he's the one who's black projects. They call them black ops for a reason. Why is it black? Because it's not It's not reported. That's why it's called black ops. It's a known thing.
Ben, stop making claims that we can't prove. But Kreg did bring in the known thing first. He started that.
Okay, go ahead, Kreg.
Yeah, sorry. It was a while ago. I was trying to say something, and they don't shut up. So I don't even think it's relevant anymore at this point. But I was just trying to point out the amount of claims that he said. He said that the CIA are a government contractor, and then he said that the CIA aren't reporting the things that they do. So I just want some evidence for all of these claims that he's saying. And I've literally lost track of all of the claims that he's made. And then, dumbass over there, number one, said that, oh, well, it's just a well-known thing. It's a well-known thing that when we talk about chemtrails, we literally mean the lines left behind by passenger jets in the sky. So don't come to me with it's well-known if you don't know well-known stuff like that.
And thinking that you won.
Yeah.
I do. Hold on. I do agree. We cannot just say, oh, that, everybody just knows this, or even to say, well, it's black ops, so we wouldn't know. But then I asked you the question, Ben, if you're going to say it's black ops, we wouldn't know, then how would you know?
Yeah, he just says religion then.
Yeah.
Because they admit it later, and we keep getting reports of such things. Like the entire Mina cocaine smuggling operation.
And that's what we need to bring up, Ben.
Ben,
then that's what we need to bring up. If you have proof of that, then that's what needs to be brought up.
Yeah, while he's getting that, can we get the proof of what was the thing that Kreg said everybody knew? Oh yeah, the definition included passenger. Can we get that as well if we're enforcing?
So
Did you hear this audio?
So I hate to point out to you.
You get that?
But when you read that law, it said persons It said persons need to report. That doesn't include government contractors. That doesn't include all kinds of different things.
Yes, it does.
Of course. All right, let me read again. The term means any individual, corporation, company, association, firm, partnership, society, joint stock company, or any state or local government, or any agency thereof, or any other organization, whether commercial or nonprofit, who is performing weather modification activities.
Yeah. So he was wrong about something that was not the debate.
It was said in the debate.
You're right. There was something said in the debate that wasn't the topic, that was inaccurate, or maybe
everything you guys have said is the topic. Yes.
All right. So we're still at an impasse here. They know that their position is so undefensible that they will not address their specific position. They will not give a clear definition of the thing that they don't accept.
We have given lots of clear. We've done it several times. Can we get, since we're enforcing everybody knows, can we get the everybody knows proof that everybody knows passenger is an important part of the definition?
Define chemtrails and define the planes.
Chemicals.
If you
real.
No, hold on. Don't even give him that. No, it's your turn. And hold on. It's Sarah's turn to enforce the same thing on both sides, and it's your turn to show your definition.
I think I'm still waiting on your claim to kind of come to fruition, Flo, only because
what was my claim?
It just keep coming. It's like chemtrails, they're there, they exist. And then Balderson's talking about black ops and super secret spy shit. But I haven't
Balderson's
really heard. Yeah, but look, that's the point. I need
backstage.
Can you throw your claim out very clearly and then elaborate further because you do have the burden of proof on that.
Okay. Yes.
And this way, now they can tear into yours. You've already torn into theirs, right? But it's your turn to make the positive.
Okay. I don't know how anybody hasn't heard this yet. Chemtrails are the trails that you see behind planes that are not contrails, that are chemical agents being intentionally sprayed into the atmosphere for any number of reasons, but particularly the one we have proof for, and they know we have proof for it, is geoengineering. So they don't even dispute that. I did drop some stuff backstage demonstrating that is the case. So they tried to move the goalpost and say, well, even though that's chemicals, that's not what everybody means when they say chemtrails, and it has to be passenger planes. So I yield.
All right, cool. Well, then we're in complete agreement. Thanks.
Welcome to the Tinfoil Hat Club.
So geoengineering is, let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. Geoengineering, you all agree on.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Nope. And disagreement. That happens.
So if I could just respond to Hat McWear glasses inside over there. When he asks for proof that it includes passenger, if you look at the Wikipedia page for chemtrail conspiracy theory, it specifically mentions the theory of seeing tanks in passenger aircraft, and proof that this is therefore tanks that are in passenger aircraft, where in fact these are. And let me read the passage.
Hold on,
let me read the passage. Photographs of barrels installed in the passenger space of aircraft for flight tape purposes have been claimed to show aerosol dispersion systems. The barrel's actual purpose is to simulate the weight of passengers or cargo on the passenger plane. The barrels are filled with water, and the water can be pumped from barrel to barrel to test different centers of gravity while the aircraft is in flight. So there is the proof that the common knowledge of conspiracy theories includes passenger jet. Thank you very much.
How far down? First of all, we didn't reference the Wikipedia page for the prompt, but no, it's not listed anywhere in the prompt. But second of all, how far down the page? Hold on. I was quiet. Let me go. How far down the page did you have to go? Because I'm looking at it right now, and the first sentence, the main definition, does not say anything about passengers. So how far down did you scroll?
I just used the logical thing to do: press Control F and search for the word passenger.
There you go.
Yes, and came up with the point that within the description of the conspiracy theory, it clearly mentioned passenger jets as one of the main things. That is my proof that our claim had the thing we said. So we have fulfilled any burden that we have ever had. If you agree that geoengineering is a thing, which we do, but if you have proof that the normal things the lines we see in the sky are anything other than contrails, then the burden is 100% on you. Please present evidence of that.
I think it's crazy that you think that just because you found the word passenger somewhere on the entire Ask Wikipedia page.
I will engage and say that's a bandwagon fallacy, Craig, only because you're going to popular belief with that sentiment. So if we're using this as a common sense approach, I do agree with you in terms of we're debating chemtrails, and then if the popular belief is that chemtrails come from passenger planes, then we would go with that.
I 100% agree with you that I was using the bandwagon fallacy, but I think that goes towards my point that what we've been saying, that is the commonly held belief of what a chemtrail is.
Right.
But
I'm not done. But Flo and Benjamin are in disagreement with the popular belief, and they're arguing that it is something different, correct?
He's asserting it's the popular. In his definition, it said some. He said it said some people believe this. So apparently, because
some is in the conspiracy theorists.
What is the number of some? What's the percentage of some?
The sum that that's referring to is conspiracy theorists.
Sarah, we're not making any claim as to whether or not it's passenger planes. The passenger plane component is completely additional.
Right. To answer the direct question,
or is most common?
Okay. So
to answer the question that was directly put to me, some in that sentence is referring to the conspiracy theorists.
We're them. And we're telling you you're wrong about what we say. Your move.
What percentage?
The common definition of chemtrails disagrees with you. Sarah, honestly, we are at an impasse. We're just going around in circles about what the debate is about. Toon and I have made our position very clear, and we've answered every question that's been put to us where they have failed to provide any evidence for anything that they've claimed. I honestly think that engaging with them further is kind of pointless.
So so Craig and MC say this is coming from passenger planes, because and then they're able to dismantle that conversation with their physics and so on and so forth. However, you guys don't believe it. So you are dismantling their argument by saying it's not coming from passenger planes, or maybe it could be, but it also is coming from other things.
Right. They're saying we're saying something that we're not actually saying.
But again, I need you to solidify your claim in terms of dismantling their passenger planes. You need to solidify your claim on the other end. That's where the issue is.
Sarah, they're saying we're saying it's passenger planes, and we're saying no, we're not saying that. So I don't know how else we could pull that apart.
In order to dismantle their claim, though, you need to say where it actually is coming from and show that. But you're saying chemtrails are real, which means if you believe if I said chemtrails are actually coming from birds flying in the air, even though they're okay, listen to what I'm saying. I'm trying to give you some kind of analogy that you can understand. So Craig and
everyone is confused.
No, I'm actually I feel like I'm pretty clear here. Craig and MC say chemtrails are not real. They're actually contrails. They come from the passenger planes, or even I'm assuming jet planes. It could be jet planes based on the physics behind everything.
Which planes do contrails come from? I don't know.
Gentlemen, is it just passenger planes?
Any plane flying in the sky.
Any plane. Okay, so all planes. Hold on, stop. All planes are all airplanes are on the table for them. Okay, now if you come in and say no, it's not coming from just airplanes. There's also birds shitting out chemtrails as well. Then we're
not saying that.
But I understand.
Sarah, we're doing the same fucking thing that they're doing.
Where are you saying the chemtrails are coming from?
How in the fuck is it that you understand it when they say all planes, but you don't understand it when we say all planes? You're the one that's confused. They're confusing you.
You're gaslighting, you little fucker.
No, you're actually confused.
But they're
you've been driving us nuts. They're making a secondary claim and then putting the burden of proof on us. And you're helping.
You have the burden of proof. You're saying chemtrails are real.
Oh my
we
fucking God.
Where are
now
they
they're asking
from?
us to say which planes give them. They admitted chemtrails are
What's
real.
in
Now
that
they're
water bottle?
Now they're asking us to say which planes they are. And I don't fucking
Craig's
know.
gonna bite that knuckle off.
All right. Please send wine. Where are you saying chemtrails come from?
Why we're not we're saying this. Look, Sarah,
or contrails, because contrails somehow there was only a 20% reduction during the
God damn it. You gotta stop fogging it up.
Yeah,
Sarah.
you are throwing me off, Ben. Because what I'm saying, Ben,
didn't disappear.
Ben, here's point A and point B. You go to get there. All right. I need a direct thought process. Where are chemtrails coming from? Airplanes, bird shitting.
They're from airplanes.
They're coming from airplanes.
They're coming from airplanes. And Kreg and MC, you say it's contrails, not chemtrails, coming from airplanes. All airplanes. We all agree all airplanes, correct?
No.
Now yeah.
We don't disagree that some planes disperse chemicals, and that is known as geoengineering, which is registered and recorded and reported. So we are specifically saying that we are talking about the commonly held conspiracy theory that people like CC, the flat earther push, the crisscrossing of lines in the sky that you get is not, in fact, contrails. That is chemtrails, and they are spraying us with nonsense. That is the belief of the debate that I came here with, because everyone that I've ever spoken to about chemtrails has had that held belief. And everywhere I look, that is the commonly held belief.
Okay.
So I don't know what the debate is about.
Let me answer to this then. In debate prep, yes, I know you're going with the common belief, but in debate prep, you want to go and check out the actual people you are debating to see what their stance is. CC is not here. You're not arguing with CC. You're arguing with these two goons, right? So in that event, you're going to be arguing whatever their claim is. Now, you guys have to make the claim and make it strong and back it up. And then it is your job to argue that point. I feel like they've done their bit of trying to argue yours. Now it's your turn to argue theirs. Now, you can go off popular belief, but that's not necessarily the conversation here, only because it's just a question. Are chemtrails real?
Yes.
Am I making sense to everybody? I think I'm trying to balance the scales here, but you're all a bunch of goons at this point.
Yeah.
I love you all.
Do we agree that chemtrails are a thing?
Yes.
We do not agree that chemtrails are a thing. We agree that geoengineering happens, and we agree that the contrails behind the majority of planes that we see are just contrails and not chemtrails. The ones that are actually doing geoengineering, yes, those are the ones that are reported. And in the 1972 law, I totally agree with that. Those exist, but most of them are cloud seeding, which happens above existing clouds. So if you see them from the ground, that's not cloud seeding because there aren't clouds between you and them.
There's not always clouds in the sky. But if we try to decipher, if we try to apply what likely the two words really meant, and we look at there's these stripes are either contrails or chemtrails, right? I haven't heard them called anything else. Have you?
No.
Does it seem likely that contrails, being specifically condensation, exclude chemicals, which would be part of chemtrails?
I'm not here for a meta debate about the debate.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Princess. Get your Rubik's Cube out.
If you don't have a position, then there's no reason to move forward in this debate.
Like, when I looked these two up, I didn't really see them talking much about chemtrails, and everyone I've ever spoken to about chemtrails, I mean, we just seem to be talking in circles. All of us agree that geoengineering is the thing, right? And if they want us to make a 100% positive claim, my positive claim is all of the lines we see in the sky behind planes are contrails and not chemtrails. Simple as that. That's my claim.
I don't know.
Benjamin?
That's such a broad claim. I don't know how you could even begin to back it up or try to.
Quite easily. We can look at flight radar records. We can look at the chemtrail. We can look at geoengineering reporting records and compare the two. And you will find that whenever you look at a plane flying above you and there's lines behind it, it is in fact contrails and not chemtrails. If you have evidence of the opposite, then I would love to see you present that, because my evidence is simply the reporting system that is in place and the fact that every single flight around the world is tracked.
But that's not actually evidence, because for it to be evidence for this purpose in a debate, you would also have to bring like time-stamped and location-stamped photos of the sky to demonstrate that they're not there.
I think that
so
we can. I think we can presume it's there if he's willing to back it up with that. I don't feel the need to throw that up on the screen and go through timestamps of that. But if
he doesn't have it. That's what I'm saying.
He's saying that as well as the flight radar records and the reporting system, he also wants photos of every single plane to reference.
Well, I mean, you're saying that we can
need evidence of the evidence of the evidence.
That's what your claim corresponds against. You're saying that we can look at this and we can look at this.
I use the claims of the flight radar records,
right,
and the reporting systems that is in place.
Right.
So I don't need to do anything else. That is all of my evidence. It exists for everybody to see.
The other piece of evidence that you would need is that there is no chemtrails or contrails in the sky that day, but you don't have that. So I can say that I saw them.
That's your claim that they are. So you need to show evidence that they are.
I agree here with Kreg, because I think MC also provided that in terms of like the weather differential, why you wouldn't see it on the West Coast, but you would see it on the East Coast more, so on and so forth, more people, different weather, different density, blah, blah, blah. So he did provide that information up front. So we can presume that he has more information for that. So
the fuck if we can. What he did was give an explanation. But he didn't. What Craig's trying to do is say, look, we can correspond this specific thing to that specific thing. But he hasn't brought the specific thing that needs to be compared to. We can't actually, for the sake of this debate, you didn't bring any evidence to demonstrate. You made a claim that this will correspond to the sky, or did correspond to the sky. They were
just telling you exactly where my evidence is.
Then what is your evidence, Flo, for chemtrails being real?
Oh my God. My evidence is that they spray things in the sky. We have records of it. We're both referencing the records. And what he's doing is he's saying that when it says that they're spraying, you don't see trails in the sky.
Okay.
But we're not looking at the sky. Now, my claim, which I suppose would be circumstantial, but at least it's definitely some evidence, better than, oh yeah, trust me, bro, there were no stripes in the sky that day. Hold on, let me pull it up. My evidence would be this pattern. This is a dusting pattern. This is covering territory. This is not flight. This is not passenger flight paths. It's evenly spaced. It's a straight grid.
Right.
Right. So
that's passenger.
It is.
Yeah. He just made a very, very positive claim that is not passenger flight grids. Could you provide evidence of that, please?
It's way less of a positive claim than you saying if we check in the sky on these days, we won't see them.
Yeah,
but like I said,
on
this
your
is
claim.
circumstantial.
You just made the very specific claim that what's in this picture is not from passenger planes. Can you provide evidence?
I have said that I have said that this pattern is a spread pattern. This is a crop dusting pattern. It's
right. Can you provide evidence that specifically is crop dusting, please?
I don't even know where this picture came from.
Oh, well, you should probably remove it then, because it's not anything that you should bring up.
So again, you're doing a straw man where you're trying to say I'm speaking of this literal picture. I'm speaking of this
I'm
pattern.
sorry that I assumed that the evidence that you're presenting is the thing that you were talking about. That's
all right.
my mistake.
Let me see the picture of the sky when these logs were that you say doesn't show any contrails.
I didn't say I had pictures of the sky because I
don't that's right. So
yeah. But if I did have a picture of the sky, I would be able to tell you when and where it was taken and what it was looking at, instead of just a random picture.
Do you not understand I'm using this as a model,
random picture that you said is not even your point? So
do you understand that I'm trying to illustrate a pattern?
Flo, presuming that this is a grid of some sort, and it's it can be similar to the style of crop dusting. Do you have something further as to why that would be considered crop dusting grid-like style and not the passenger planes just happen to be on that like perfectly coming out of the same
perfectly straight?
Well, do you have more pictures of that specifically that aren't near airports?
Yeah, I could address that.
Sure, that'd be great.
So there are specific flight paths that are taken, and so the same flight path will be flown by multiple airplanes, separated by time. And when you have a wind blowing horizontally, and you have airplanes that are regularly spaced, because air traffic controllers like to keep regular spacing between planes so that they don't crash, and so they know where they are and have regular distances. Then as that wind blows sideways, you will get these contrail patterns that a plane goes through, the wind blows the contrail to the side, another plane goes through, you repeat that, and you get this exact pattern.
Okay. I'm sharing a screen right now.
Okay. There it is. Okay.
Apologies.
So this is actually a live flight tracker.
Yeah, there we
go. Does this look like a grid?
Toon just explained why it looks like that. Did you not listen to any of the words he said?
He supported exactly my claim there. You see that they're in lines. Those lines that you see are exactly what I'm talking about. They're airplanes that take the same path between common places, because they use regular flight paths, and they're not all at the same time, and they're not all next to each other.
No, this is live.
Each other. Those planes are behind each other. So you have a plane that goes through, and then another plane that goes through, and then another plane that goes through. And between the time that plane 1 and 2 went through, there's wind that blew the contrail to the side. And between 2 and 3, there's wind that blew the
You don't know the wind conditions when this picture was taken. And also, no, I don't. But I'm not making a claim about the wind conditions.
Explanation is an understandable explanation that wind blows things sideways, number one appear, blow sideways, make grid.
It's not even a grid. It's not two-dimensional. It's just lines.
Well, yeah, there's a couple of lines in the background behind it that he doesn't realize that are higher altitude because he's got no depth perception.
Yeah, I think you also have to look at the perspective. Those those lines could be going up and down, or they could be going side to side. But because your picture is set in one way, we can't really tell if they're stacked or like catawampus to each other. Basically, you wouldn't know. They just only look grid-like. But because airplanes, right? And I'm going to try to translate as best as I can. Airplanes, when they're taking off, they could be at different altitudes as they're going through. So even if they were stacked up and down,
that's not what's happening. They're all at a pretty regular elevation. There, that's not a challenge there. We don't think that there's some depth perception thing going on.
Okay, so let me
pretty much the same height.
This is what they start to look like when they get blown around. They fade out. They don't just neatly shift over.
Yeah, and how long between that one that's going top right to bottom left? How long ago was that compared to the thin lines? You don't know. That's the problem. You have an unsighted, an untimed.
Are you denying that trails dissipate in this manner? Are you suggesting that they stay tight over time?
I'm asking you how long was it between the thick lines and the thin lines?
I'm asking you. Do you think that clouds get wider do these trails get wider and fade out over time, or do they stay tight? They dissipate, don't they? Yes, they do.
You have an untimed photograph here. You don't know.
You're right.
They've been up.
You're not even disagreeing with my claim.
I'm going to point out that first you're saying they came in grid-like, and then here they look more. Are you saying these are regular?
Yeah.
Contrails?
Which ones are you saying are normal contrails, and which ones are you saying are secret government spraying eugenics program?
I was not making a claim about either. I would say, none of them are the secret government eugenics program.
No claims, no debate.
So the claim is that the left one, my profile picture, that is a pattern that is consistent with trying to cover a certain area.
Excellent. And what's the contents of those contrails there? Did you have any mechanism for us ascertaining what's in them?
Everybody knows that cancer chemicals are in them.
Well, everybody knows. Could you provide evidence of that, please?
I mean, everybody I've talked to, just everybody knows. Let me look at Wikipedia.
Oh, Wikipedia is going to say that there's cancer-causing chemicals in those lines.
I was being sarcastic. And the point of me pulling this one up, the second one was...
Wait, Sarah, I'm sorry, but he's made a very big claim there that everybody knows.
It was a very sarcastic claim. I made a big sarcastic claim at you.
All right, well, then back off the sarcasm and start providing evidence.
Do you disagree that with both of them, contrails and chemtrails, that over time, as they disappear into the air around them, that they fade and spread out and blow around?
Your photo there, the ones closer to the bottom of the screen are more spread out than the ones near the top of the screen.
You're right.
Yeah.
Good job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And to answer your question more specifically, it depends on the conditions. There are many variables. Conditions can also change very quickly and make a contrail disappear within minutes, or make it stay for hours. It really depends on what is going on up there, and those conditions can change extremely quickly.
I don't disagree with that either.
Cool. Awesome. Right. Sarah, I honestly think that they've made no claims. So, I don't know what we're debating here.
Yeah. I think that where we're stuck at is that a chemtrail or not? And
if you think it is, then present evidence.
Yeah.
All right. Give me 60 seconds, and then we'll go into closing. If you want to spurg some more.
Yeah. My evidence would be that it is a chemical that's being sprayed into the environment intentionally. It is not condensation, which is the other explanation for the trails behind planes.
You got evidence for that?
That was you said that was your evidence, and then you made a
claim. Yeah. I was waiting for the evidence.
Claim.
No, you said claim.
No, you said my evidence is, and then you made a claim. So where's the evidence bit of the words you just said?
Forgot that part.
What do you want evidence for?
Oh, you claim. Yeah, well, no, you.
Oh,
right.
The evidence.
Once
Okay,
again,
so the evidence is that it's mutually exclusive, right? There's only two explanations for the trails, right? Right. I've already asked you this, and you've already agreed. There's chemtrails and contrails. We know we can use process of elimination. We know that cloud seeding chemicals are not condensation. They therefore have to be chemtrails.
Yeah, so which ones are they specifically? Any of the pictures you showed us, were they cloud seeding chemicals?
That doesn't matter.
Well, it kind of does.
The evidence is in the definition. The definition is mutually exclusive.
Oh my goodness.
All right, let's go ahead into closing statements, gentlemen, and then we will go into open panel dumpster fire. It is about that time anyways. Thank God. All right. So, and just a kind reminder, I'm about to, for members only, I will drop the backstage link into a members only post. Stand by for that. In the meantime, MC, would you like to start with your closing statement, please?
Sure. So they talked a lot about geoengineering. The most common is cloud seeding. Cloud seeding is only applicable when there are already clouds in the sky. It is to make the clouds that are already in the sky precipitate. These things exist, not a problem. But when there's no clouds in the sky, there's no point in doing cloud seeding because there's no clouds to seed. So I think it's very telling that they were extremely hesitant to define clearly which airplanes until the very end they thought were the ones at doing the chemtrails, other than the geoengineering, which we all agree on. So thank you for that. Thanks, Sarah. It's been great. I would love to, Sarah, come back. I do debate other topics. Specifically, 5G is safer, and I'd love to find somebody that wants to face me on that.
Ooh. Not Flo and not Benjamin.
No, I'm not offering to take it up. I'm just curious than what. I don't know anything about that stuff.
We can actually kind of rally into that during open panel if you want, and then MC, maybe we'll find somebody who would like to debate you on that note. Kreg, to you, please.
Thank you very much. This is always fun. Impulse control issues are some of the tune that I'm used to dealing with, I guess. Yeah, we were here because we thought we were debating people that held the common belief about chemtrails, but I guess these were special chemtrailers that were a subsect of chemtrailers that we weren't aware of. So I guess I should apologize for not knowing the niche little cults that belong to the big cult there. So what you see in the sky, every single one of them that you can look up, because there's not clouds, that's how you see them. Every single one are contrails and not chemtrails. If you have proof otherwise, please present that to me. That's it. Thanks, Sarah. This is awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kreg. Benjamin, to you.
So we spent pretty much the entire debate after they conceded that there's chemtrails. And then Kreg tried to change the definition, and even the word some, he tried to make that most, like some is common. If I find some, when I got a pan of gold and I found some in there and I wasn't happy, but most, that I'm happy. It's a pretty simple thing. They said that he just got done saying that we didn't make a claim, but you made a claim that it was the passenger planes making them. And when 80% of those planes got taken out of the equation and the chemtrails didn't disappear, it's other planes. And then everybody pretended like I'm some crazy conspiracy theorist when Mena, Arkansas, the Post is writing back. It's a fairly well-known thing that they do their own thing off of the books, and it's on purpose. So that way, when the big guy gets on TV and it's time to pay the piper, he can go, I didn't know anything about it. They even have a term for it. It's something reasonable deniability or plausible deniability. Like, that's not a known thing all of a sudden. So the chemtrail debate got taken out of the equation right out the gate. That was admitted that there are planes spraying chemicals. When I tried to question how come when 80% of passenger planes get taken out, they stay, but you're telling me that it's passenger planes leaving those. Well, and then I didn't make a positive enough claim, so I don't know where to go with that. But good enough.
Thank you, Benjamin. Flo, to you.
Yeah, as Striking It Rich said in my chat, they're hanging on to the passenger jet thing for dear life. This was really just semantics. This was a semantic game and a moving the goalpost game. Ultimately, obviously, the components of weather modification, discharge, pause. Obviously, that is chemicals, not condensation. So, as much as they're trying to appeal to these restrictive definitions or what everybody thinks, despite the fact that the everybody they're referencing is us. Obviously, it's not a contrail. It's a chemtrail if it's a chemical that's meant to change the weather. They're just trying to squeeze out the side by saying that no, that's not what it really is, but obviously it is. So, anyways, I had a good time. I hope everyone on panel. I mean, I think me and Kreg are pretty cool in the chaos. So the rest of you look a little bit stressed out and tired. But anyways, good shit.
Fuck all of you. I love you all. This was fun. Just as a kind reminder to everyone, these are 4 grown adults interrupting each other. Makes it for good entertainment. I love it. Let's get to the super chats that came in. And for the record, everybody watching on either side, I have dropped a link to the open panel. If you want to come on, now's the time to get in there. All right, so let's see. And any of you can respond to these. I don't care how you do it. Otherwise, if nobody says anything, I'll just keep moving on. Andreas says with a big 5, please remember that it's not chemtrails, it's contrails, just like in con artists. Okay. Odin's Rage says with the big 5, technically any trail behind an engine has chemicals. Is that their gold star?
Water is a chemical.
That is true.
You're gonna make it so broad, then you don't.
Then technically, yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing if you make everything.
Right. I think that would make it an important piece to define that. Kango with the big 5 says an issue with debating conspiracy theorists like these clowns is they are just too stupid to have a conversation with. Is Bigfoot flying the planes? That's pretty funny.
What is it?
It is. A Man Army with a big 10. Craig, I respect you. I think you versus Manor Reports on a 1v1 debate about Islam versus atheist would be a great to make on modern day debates or breakfast tacos or Sarah's Pet. Why would you advertise somebody else's show here?
Why would you read it?
But,
yeah, I'll totally do that. And Sarah would probably be a good host for that.
Thank you. Manor Reports. All right. Have you seen him before?
No.
Okay. Fair warning, Spurg session 101.
Right.
Odin's comes in with another 5. 5 more bucks on a technicality. All exhaust contains chemicals. Oh, so I guess they're following up on that one. Man Army with the 5 says, Craig, I like your content.
I think that was to me this time rather than you.
Great debater. Would you debate my guy Manor Reports on Islam versus atheism 1v1, maybe on MDD or breakfast tacos panel? Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, fuck you, Sarah.
Not even you this time. You were listed at the last one, at least.
I know, a little dick. But yeah, if Manor Reports wants to do it, and if Craig, if you're willing to take him on, he's been on this panel before. That's fine. Manor Reports, reach out to me and we'll see. Ernie comes in with a big 5. Thanks for being a real mod. This was a tough one. Y'all pissed me off. Snorky Y2K with the big 5. How are we compensating for how much aluminum is injected into air from people using deodorant in an air-conditioned space? Any thoughts?
No controls were provided for anything, and the people who think that there's something other than just jet exhaust in those trails never have any supporting evidence for it. It's always circumstantial.
Fair enough. Lord
Illuminous poop.
Tomato lady, you should meet Zumi. She's a tomato too. A joke. I bred a wiener dog with a golden retriever. Got a wiener retriever like bites mom. Oh, boy.
Yeah, I'm coming round. That's it.
What the
I'm sending Tim after you. That's just not on, man.
Earthly skeptic with a big 5. Ray and Bald, you see your breath on a cold morning due to the same reason that causes contrails. So are you spreading harmful chemicals into the air?
They are.
I notice that when I do that, I'm from South Dakota. I'm pretty used to it, and weirdly, it never stays. It's not like in a comic book and shit where you're like, poof, and then you can like maybe put words in it or something. It don't work like that. It dissipates.
I've never seen it hang around for like even 2 seconds anywhere. What's the longest you've seen your breath hang in the air?
Because the dew point,
immediate dissipation.
Not at the dew point there again.
Hey, we didn't bring up the comparison. We're just pointing out why it's a bad one.
All right, fair enough. And then big red sky with the big 5 says, Craig, turn your volume down if you don't want to listen. No one wants to hear you ever complain about interruptions again.
I don't think I just let them shout, really.
I will say,
the thing is, I wouldn't need to complain about interruptions if they didn't interrupt.
Craig, you're one of our interrupters too.
Oh yeah, I know. I was doing that on purpose once they just started talking around in circles, to be honest. I was just having fun at that point.
That's fair. F Grood with the big, I think that's 10. More Sarah, she's awesome. I don't know if you meant to spell more that way.
It was
okay. Observer comes in with a big 5. Here is some money for some headache meds. Yes, I did put. I ended up changing my new goal to Tylenol fund. So thank you very kindly.
I've already roofied her, so she'll be feeling better soon.
You know what? I have a bottle of Prosecco sitting upstairs. I was so tempted to go get it, but I have to work in the morning. So
I've got some going right now.
Oh, amen to that. JSS Tiger with a big 5. Has anyone ever done any chemical testing on chemical trails? That's a good question.
No, they don't.
There's a whole bunch of people that claim they do, but who knows where they get it? And they're like, they show lab reports, but who knows where they got their samples from or what they are. Nothing that you could be particularly reliable.
How about spectroscopy? That would work.
Would what?
Spectroscopy.
Have they got a container for it though?
Yeah, you could do it with or without a container.
I'm not old enough to need one of those yet.
All right.
It was a joke. It was a joke.
Boston Concerts with a big 5. Has anyone ever opened the window to catch a chemtrail from a plane in front of them?
That'd be great.
Hold on, just hold her steady.
Catch a cloud. That's fair. Tiles with the big 5. Sarah's the MVP of the debate. Holy cow, you guys made that rough. Tim Davidson with the big 5. The positive position, chemtrails are real. Now what chems, what planes, who, how, and why?
Yes, it's something we ask often.
Mm-hmm. Wicked Wally with the big 5. Sorry, I'm here late. I don't know any arguments or who has what position, but I'm sure they're all plain to see. That was awful. Gonna jet on out. Thanks, Wicked Wally. Finkel with a big 75. Some loser named Powder Dusty grifted me for $50 last night, so surely the mater is worthy of 75. That's because I'm Finkel's favorite, Flo. Did you hear that?
Katie, get me a banana.
Bane Bear with the big 5. If a pilot flies a plane, he's also a passenger. Therefore, all planes are passenger planes. Otherwise, they're drones. That's a fair point, but I think in terms of the definition of a passenger plane. Yeah. King Ed V with the big 5. Not all planes leave contrails, but all lines in the sky are contrails. Simple as that. Yeah, this is like not all fruits are apples, but all apples are fruits kind of argument. Makes sense. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, how do you prove that? How do you prove that every line in the sky is a contrail? And further, when 80% of the planes that supposedly do that got taken out of the equation, the lines kept happening.
We explained that very specifically.
Yes. Yeah. And I just would like to say shout out to Mike 23 for the 20 memberships. You the man. Go ahead. That's my only thoughts on that.
All right. Kengo with the big 20 says, do the chemtrail clowns think that in all commercial airports have people that fuel and maintain the planes are in on the conspiracy, loading the chemicals onto the planes? All the commercial pilots are in on it too?
Yeah, they'd have to turn it
only
on.
Only the ones at Denver, because it's got that crazy horse with the demon eyes, outside of it. Denver's the only one. Yeah.
Lucifer.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
No, I clearly said that when they cut out the commercial planes and all that the trail still went on. Clearly stated that.
All right. Robert Demita with the big 10. Windstream. Thank you, Sarah and panel. Robert is the kindest one, always in the bunch with the manners. Thank you. The Sun Express with the big 5. Why the evil they who are doing the super evil contrailing, living and breathing in the exact same atmosphere as the rest of us? That's a good question, actually.
Mental.
Makes no sense. Yeah.
Because it's fun.
Here comes something with no evidence.
Yeah, no, there's no evidence for this. It is speculation. If you're in charge of whatever you're in charge of, if you're in charge of modifying weather for some portion of the country, it's presumable. I don't know it for sure, but it's presumable that whoever's calling those shots probably doesn't live in that part of the country or the world. And if he does, he probably dismisses the harms of doing it as much less than the harms of just not doing his job at all. I'm speculating entirely, though. I don't have any idea.
So there's the meeting. Here's the board meeting of the people that eventually...
You're trying to pick apart something that I said is pure speculation.
Hold on. Let him spit it out. Jesus fucking Christ. Go ahead.
We start spraying poisonous chemicals on everybody. Somebody else in the board means like, wouldn't we get that too? The first one's like, yes, but it's worth it. No, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Are you presuming rich people live like us?
He's intentionally misunderstanding, so I'm not going to bother. It was just speculative anyway, so nice dunk.
All right. Can go with the big 5. Worried about chemtrails while smoking. LOL. I guess the health concerns around smoking are just a conspiracy.
Yeah.
I think that's a shot at you, Flo.
I mean, okay. Clutch those pearls harder.
Also.
I smoke cigars too. I used to smoke harder things, but.
All right.
I'm going to leave that alone. We're on the same team.
King Ed with the big 5. Chemical seeding or geoengineering does not leave trails. How do they not know this? I have been personally involved with seeding operations.
All right, Avatar.
The power within with the big 10. Kreg and MC Toon need to investigate the gematria guy. That guy has scammed people over $1 million and convinces people to gamble. Flow State knows how he is. No, we are not doing gematria tonight. Fuck no. No, and no, I refuse. I sat through 2 debates on that. I was miserable. Absolutely not.
That was the first debate I watched of yours.
Oh my God.
That guy's.
Woohoo.
I have a quick sidebar question. What's the story with the shoes on display behind you?
Oh, somebody sent me them. They're NASA shoes.
That's pretty cool.
I figured there was a reason they were there and not just mess.
Jay with the big 5. They all believe in cloud seeding, and Flo and Brian, I'm guessing Benjamin, can't admit that they are wrong about contrails and passenger planes.
Yeah, because we're not wrong.
Because nobody said that.
Right.
And huge arse with the big 5. So how many people have died from chemtrails? If none, what's the problem? That's a good question too.
How would we know that?
How are they going to know?
The one that
know.
Debate.
Do you think that do you think that whatever chemtrails cause, like the specific disease would just like light up like this is from a chemtrail? Probably not. It'd probably be Alzheimer's or cancer or something like the rest of,
40 years later, they have a class action lawsuit, and some legal agencies like, do you have mesothelioma in your eye?
Oh my goodness. And a shout out for there's 20 gifted memberships over on Powder Dusty's side. Congratulations to all you lucky lottery winners. And another 10 as well from
Mike.
There you
I
go.
appreciate
30
it.
out the door. All right. Are we ready to really fuck shit up and get crazy now? You 4 are already on my short list. Okay. Be gentle. All right.
I can hang for about an hour before I need to go to sleep.
No problem. You guys are able to leave at any point in time whenever you so choose, and I will not consider it a rage quit unless you're whining like a bitch out the door. Here we go. right, rules of the road, you little shits. You listen to me. I am the voice. If you hear my voice, that means you should probably shut the fuck up. That means you've pissed me off because
It's
you're
the guy who eats
interrupting
fat pussy.
or yelling over each other or doing shit like that. I just remove you because it gets on my fucking nerves. All right,
Yes,
we're gonna
ma'am.
play, have a good time. We can start with everybody asking a question here or there. We'll go from that route, and then we can, let you guys have in on it. Okay. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Chuck, you were the member first in line. Feel free to start the conversation, please.
Well, I'm not trying to upset my illegitimate stepson.
Too late. Your mic's already fucked up.
It is.
I'll be back.
That's
Love
what
you,
I
Chuck.
thought.
I'll
Shut
hold
it
the
right
spot for you.
down.
It might be coming in okay. Go ahead. Keep talking, Chuck.
Is it still bad?
It's still the same.
Nah,
Okay,
yeah.
All right, I got to switch browsers. I'll be back.
Okay. All right. All right.
I have
See how efficiently I dispatched to that?
I
Just
will.
like it was Kreg and Kreg.
I have a question, Sarah.
Sure. Go ahead.
Does everybody on the panel have a consensus on what evidence is?
I bet probably if you push that too far, we would not agree.
Yeah, I don't think you guys even understand, or well, not necessarily understand, but agree. Like I've heard you use anecdotal evidence. I've heard evidence from inference. I've heard logical evidence, but I haven't seen any physical evidence.
Yeah.
Right. But
well, what you didn't see
is
the things
like,
that I was putting backstage. I did put several things backstage that I guess were not shared to other chats.
I got you, Chuck.
Right, but I think that the biggest form that we didn't see was prima facie evidence, like what was obvious on the face of it. Right, you guys didn't even try to attempt to see like to explain it to a person that wouldn't understand at all. Right, break it down and distill it to its simplest form. Like you guys didn't even attempt that.
We actually did. We did it a ton of times. You guys, I don't know, for some reason you're saying like, no, that's not. Yeah, we did. Said it's either contrail or chemtrail, right? And if it's a chemical, it's not condensation.
Binary does not mean distilled.
I didn't follow your objection, but I assumed that it is meaningless. It was just an objection for its own sake.
I imagine that you need that to be the case in order for your argument to make sense.
Okay, well then re-explain it to me like I'm 5.
I'm trying to. Like you didn't put anything prima facie, bro. Like you didn't make.
I know
anything...
you've already said that.
Yeah, well, that's my objection.
You have to repeat.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you not understand what prima facie means, or do you not understand what prima facie? Well, it's on the face of it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So like, I know you showed like the patterns of like dusting from like crop dusting.
Okay.
I know you shown that, right? But what you didn't show was like photos with perspective, with like a mountain in the foreground or in the background, where you could show.
Like, that's what would have satisfied you.
The planes.
I'm sure that would have been. Mm-hmm.
It would have helped clarify for the layman in the show. What do you mean? In what perspective wouldn't it have?
I have no evidence for this claim. It's just my instinct that you would have had an objection, regardless of how many mountains were in the background. Just a hunch.
Chuck, you're back. Let's see if you're
what a douchebag.
Testing.
I agree.
Douchebag is.
I don't even disagree with
argument. Chuck, go ahead. Let's see what you got.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Is that any better?
Way
it's
better.
Exactly the same. It's exactly the same.
Okay. I had to change.
I'm trying to give Chuck a minute here. Let me see if let me turn off.
Oh, is it bad? God damn it!
How about that? Now talk.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
Way better. Okay. All right. Just
you cleared up.
Go ahead, Chuck.
All right. Point 1 is these knuckleheads that inhaled nitrous oxide. I am not sure about, but have you ever watched videos or audio of planes when they talk about coming in heavy to an airport?
No.
Means they got too much fuel.
Mm-hmm.
The way they do that is they dump the fuel while they're up in the air, which will dissipate into the upper atmosphere or upper echelons. Also, when they're up that high, the air is quite colder up there, which means any condensate will probably turn to ice crystals before it turns to condensate, therefore lasting longer.
How often do planes coming in heavy? They have to dump fuel.
Quite a bit. A lot of planes coming into most airports have to dump fuel before they land. A lot of people don't realize that because they end up with too much fuel and they have to dump the excess before they land.
And you think that's what the stripes in the sky are?
No, it could be part of it, but contrails. Also, I think it was 2023, there was a study done by a group of independent scientists from the East Coast and the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they monitored 9 locations.
Who paid?
And they found 0 chemical from the so-called chemtrails.
Who paid for it?
I was trying to find it before I came on and I ran out of time. I can't look it up and do both. I was trying to find, because I knew somebody, especially Flo, was going to ask my sources.
And no different than when they try to ask us, how did people collect it? How did people collect it to say it was a contrail?
You take atmospheric reading.
Good question.
I'm not even. Yeah, I would even concede it. I just want to know who funded the study.
Our clouds clouds are formed in low pressure, right? What does a plane do when it's flying in the air? It compresses air to a high pressure. So if you have a high pressure immediately followed by a low pressure, what does that create?
Tornadoes.
Condensation.
It creates a cloud. Yeah. It creates a cloud. It creates a condensation cloud. Especially because you're burning fuel and it's leaving behind an ash, which creates a condensation nuclei that gives the moisture a surface to grab onto.
That's how planes fly, all of them?
No, jets mostly. Jets.
So
some planes. I didn't say that.
Well, that's how they fly.
The conditions have to be right, man. Okay, you have to be the right altitude. You have to have the right pressure, the atmospheric pressure, the right dew point. Right. If you don't have enough moisture for the moisture, if you don't have enough moisture in the air to grab onto the surface of the burnt fuel, then you're not leaving behind a cloud, right? Or if the pressure's too high, then you're not creating enough of a difference at that altitude to create a condensation nuclei cloud that would leave the trail behind you.
So is it safe to assume that whenever we're seeing these lines, then that they just are all hitting the right combination of
yes, absolutely. It's the same thing as having a rainbow. You have to have the right conditions.
but there's good reason to assume it's A and not B, even because you're not denying that cloud seeding happens, right? You don't deny that they spray stuff in the atmosphere.
I'm not saying that at all. No, we know for a fact that they have crop dusting. We know for a fact that they've been seeding clouds with salt. We know for a fact that this is a technology they've been doing since before the 50s. Mm-hmm. I mean, what's
reported?
So
not every time.
My question then would be, how are you able to just assume which is which?
Well, I know where you got your aluminum oxide theory from.
Do you?
Oh yes, I do.
I don't even know where I got it from.
It's an ex-CIA project. It's an ex-CIA project where they suspend aluminum in the air and then they bombard it with X-rays in order to create turbulent air in case of a missile attack, because you can slow down the missile enough for interception.
You're pretty smart. I didn't know anything about that. Here, I'm going to drop a link backstage to just a list of resources. Just a list.
And while we're dropping links, we'll drop the grift as well. AW Big 5. Hold on.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
The host is talking. Shut up.
Thank you, Chuck. AW with the
You're
big
welcome,
five
sweetheart.
says, if you believe chemtrails can negatively impact our air, do you believe emissions from cars, ships, planes, etc., can contribute to climate change? Anybody can respond.
Yes, the amount of carbon that comes out of fuel exhaust, I do believe, plays an effect. Not to the degree at which people tried to claim, but it does play an effect.
I think that a human or an animal's lungs is way more delicate than the globe's weather or temperature, right? We're talking about like several orders of magnitude difference in the amount of toxins or harmful additives you need to have an impact.
Well, the steel mill I used to work at, there was a thing back in the day. I don't know if any of y'all remember. It was called acid rain. Everyone laughed at it. However, the chemicals we put out into the air in the locality I lived at, it did create acid rain. It would peel the paint off of your car.
Coal ash. Mostly coal
Right.
ash.
Until we put in the scrubbers and the other technology to reduce that, was we able to park in our parking lot, because I had my car repainted once because of the acid rain.
And not just that, but the oil slick, I assume.
But
no oil slick.
Fuel
you didn't get okay.
Fuel is a hydrocarbon gas. When you look at a hydrocarbon, the only things that exist are carbon and hydrogen.
It's a hydrocarbon chain.
Yeah, it's just a chain, and it just depends on how many of each that you're looking at. So there's nothing else existing there. The carbon is not unnatural to the atmosphere. It's something that gets cycled back and forth through the atmosphere.
Yeah, but SO2 was a byproduct of that process.
One volcanic eruption equals all the
yes
of the cars.
I have to agree with that. He's 110% correct. We could run every gasoline engine on the planet at 100% capacity for a year solid and not equal the damage of one volcano. That is 100% correct.
Kilauea does more as far as that's concerned than anything else.
Mike 23 coming in with a big 10 says, Flo, you are my brother moving forward, bro. Kang 44 with the big 5 says the world has been poisoned. The world has been poisoned by plastic and the petrochemical industry. Why invent the chemtrail thing? That's a good question too. Like, we already have enough shit going around.
Yeah, you know what's really bad? I read a study yesterday that was tracking the amount of microplastics in the human brain, and they tested a brain from 2010 and a brain from 2022. And in those 12 years, the amount of microplastics in the brain had increased by 800%.
Yeah. Oh, I can believe that.
I think microplastics are a bigger issue, probably for sure. But this is not an either or, and this is how you know that I'm more objective than somebody like Kang. Is I don't decide what to believe based on what I prefer to believe.
I'd like to see your study sample. I'd like to see your sample size, your control subject group. Right?
Open your mouth. I'll give it to you.
You're making a lot of claims right there.
Open your mouth up. I'll give you a sample.
Oh my God.
Rude Mud Crab hasn't been addressed.
Shut up. Rude Mud Crabbin with a big 5 says, if they are dumping fuel, how is it possible to find no chemicals? LOL, silly old Chuck. That's to you, Chuck.
They dissipate that high up in the atmosphere. As they come down, a lot of them dissipate and get carried back up. Do you not understand the laws of gases? Exactly.
Can I add to that real quick?
At different atmospheric pressures, at different temperatures.
I have one rule.
Don't talk over each other.
Thank you, Chuck.
You're welcome, sweetheart.
I have a question for the two intelligent gentlemen.
I think.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Sasquatch.
I think they both stepped away for a second. I'll read this and maybe they'll come back by then. The Sun Express in with big 5. So the super evil, they are dumping dangerous chemicals in contrails, negatively affecting life expectancy of the population. Why coal the taxpayers?
I can answer this, but I'm not agreeing with it, but I'll answer it anyways. The reason you would coal taxpayers is because we got an aging population, and seniors don't contribute to the economy they take from it. So I don't believe the premise of this question, but there actually is an answer to it.
I personally, the part that I don't agree with is where they're trying to kill the population. That's a presumption of why it would be done. Now that we're out of the debate, there's many reasons that they could be doing something like particulating the sky with ions and making the entire field able to carry electronic signals better. They're talking about basically INET type thing.
Oh my God.
Lots of different reasons you could be
look. I'll drop another link backstage. They did look into those things with carrying radio waves through the atmosphere better. You goofy ass little gigglers.
It's the ionosphere, man. The ionosphere. You don't need to modify the atmosphere at all in order to carry signals.
Yeah, no, they carry, but you could do things to make them carry better.
Yes, I agree.
Here, you know what?
What do you mean?
Here, Giggles. Take this link backstage. Scroll down to the appendixes.
All right.
Yeah, dude, every link you posted so far has debunked you, so I would probably stop posting links.
All right, Dustin, let me ask, did you have any other questions to the panel? There's more people backstage. I want to, you can still hang backstage. I just need to get people in and out.
No, that's fine. If you have people clamoring to get up here, I will leave with this final statement though. So, you know what? Never mind. I think I've spoken enough. You guys are tired.
Dustin, nice to meet you, dude.
I'll catch you later.
Guy.
Thank you, Dustin. You can always jump back on.
All right. Much love, Sarah. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
All
right. And Chuck, I wanted to ask you.
Okay. Real quick. I ran a thing called a mass spectrometer. I ran it and serviced it. And we would periodically take samples of the local air around and run it through there. And this mass spectrometer would detect and tell us anything that was in the air, whether it was CO2, CO, hydrogen, nitrogen, argon, which is a relatively low percentage of the atmosphere, nitrogen, things like that. And we never detected oddities in the local air sample.
Did you ever calibrate it?
Yes, sir. Once a week, every week, because I work for the EPA, and I will bounce with that.
I love this.
Thank you.
That's a good man there. Good man.
Oh my God. Thank you.
Nice.
One of us.
I've seen
another
Chuck.
one,
I'm
too.
just wondering which century that was in. He did this.
All right, I have a serious question, though. Seriously, both of you gentlemen above me, y'all both went off on exactly what it is that jets burn and what comes out of it, but you didn't discuss anything at all about the additives in those jet fuels, because the different jet airplanes utilize slightly different blends of fuels, correct?
Yeah.
I went over it. You must not have paid attention.
Well, I mean, I'm not hanging on your every word, bro. I got a life, but I did try to pay attention, but I didn't catch the additives part. But it is kind of an interesting correlative. I think that's the right term, that the additives that are in the jet fuel react an odd way in the presence of certain catalysts. Palladium, platinum, silver is one of them. Yes? Are we in agreement?
Before we agree, let me bring one more up on stage. Zerzus.
Yes, it's Zerzus-Cyclin.
Come on, you know Zerzus. Everybody knows Zerzus.
If everybody else could be quiet so I can voice confirm whatever fucking noise is going on.
Joe.
No. All right. Yeah, it was Joe. Zerzus.
Hello. It's Zerzus-Cyclin, if you were wondering about how to say the last name.
Yeah. What's 6 plus 6? Zerzus, Zyquin.
12.
Why are you talking like that? Are you a troll?
Oh, no. I just had a very simple question for the chemtrail believers.
Okay.
That's all of us.
Yeah.
So, I'd like to propose an if P then Q proposition. So if P, let's say there are chemtrails, then there should be easily detectable chemicals within the body of air that we see as a chemtrail. Now, what I would like to propose is something kind of like the flat Earth final experiment, where you guys fundraise to get a airplane which is specifically designed to basically sniff the air for specific chemicals. Now, we'd first have to assume that you know exactly what chemicals would be released from standard jet fuel so that we can eliminate those chemicals and look for chemicals that wouldn't normally be present within standard jet fuel. This would be a very simple way to prove your argument of chemtrails being the chemicals that you say are not normal fuel chemicals and some sort of government additive to the air.
This sounds simple to you.
It does. It sounds brilliant too. That's the way you're gonna have to.
All right. Well,
you're gonna have to get somebody up there with filters.
It sounds
know what to look
it
for,
sounds
know the
difficult. Why don't you guys get me a plane with a special? If you guys could get the plane, then since it's simple, I'll participate. I'll fly along.
It's your claim. You should.
Yeah, that only sounds.
I should have to get the plane.
$1 million or so. And this is part of why I am quiet. I'm not tired, by the way, and all that. It's mating season for the peacocks, and they are screaming like hell. Freaking power.
Perfectly
is already crying around. He's like, oh my god, way more cock than I can take.
This debate is officially sponsored by the Peacocks. What the fuck?
What, you guys acting like your peacocks aren't mating right now?
Smoky Guru with the big 5 says this is now a conspiracy convention. Yes, it is. If you have not obtained a tinfoil hat, please go grab your tinfoil hat at the front door. It is available to you free of charge. The Sun Express in with the big 5. Where's this place where the evil they control all things and senior citizens don't pay sales taxes? Gotta know, and I'll move there immediately.
Gosh, as much as I want to just ignore it because it's obviously disingenuous, he's like, if he's trying to suggest that senior citizens on Social Security are not a net burden on the financial system, he's crazy. That's a crazy position to take. I think.
Yeah, they pay more.
He was asking where he could move and not pay taxes, and that's Florida, bro.
Could you imagine thinking that senior citizens pay more in sales tax than their income from Social Security?
And Q-Tard in with the big 5. I need a Jay Dyer laugh from Joe Cool before I leave.
I barely know who Jay is. Somebody tell a good joke though. And can I say, fucking Kreg too, huge fans. I've been fucking seeing and arguing with these flat earthers. You guys are gods. Fucking love you. And I
appreciate it, Joe.
Flo is my man. I love these people, but I must assume that they stepped outside of their field of expertise fucking with you two cats.
He sucks dick too.
I would like a second to report
only
the
on
difficult claim. I would like a second to report the sounds difficult. That sounds like an argument from incredulity. It's that it's too hard to do, so therefore we can't do it. That's not a logical sound argument.
I wasn't making a logical argument. I was sort of scoffing at it, saying, "Okay,
of course you were.
I'm not going to do it." Right. Oh yeah, you think so? It's a reasonable request for me.
Why don't you check the special plane with the special sensors and flights on that? In order to set which I agree with you about your premise of we need to set a standard, and after that standard set, then we find a deviation. I absolutely agree. That's a lot of flight hours. Jet A fuel is definitely not cheap. Joe Cool, if you want to answer the Jay Dyer thing, imagine a giant, complete douchebag who wears hot pink but thinks it's cool.
And let me. I cammed up to respond to the suggestion. Fuck no, I'm not doing it. I wouldn't walk to the end of the driveway to prove something to you. I just am not that interested in it. It's pure laziness.
Yeah, I had to,
There's no incredulity. I just don't give nearly enough fucks about it to have any desire to do that plane for you.
Enter in this debate, Sarah. You found the wrong person.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you care enough to get to invent a plane with special equipment?
I care enough to support my claims.
Yeah, Toon cares enough.
Can I chime in real quick?
He went to Antarctica.
Oh, did you?
Can I chime in real quick?
Went to Antarctica?
I went to Antarctica.
Okay, that's interesting. I would go to Antarctica if it was a vacation, but I'm
Go
not
ahead,
yet.
King Ed V.
Actually, I don't know if I would. That sounds miserable.
Shut up, Flo.
No.
In reference to what Flo is saying, them aircraft already exist. U.S. Coast Guard used them when they monitor hurricanes.
Don't even care. Not even doing it. I'm not doing it. Sorry, guys.
I'm wondering if it's been
They also
done
use them to
before. Can I
detect
ask
different
Tony?
types of chemicals released in forest fires. Sorry, Joe, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm not accepting homework assignments
That
at this
is a
time.
question for Tony.
Did you say chemicals coming out of planes?
Tony and Craig, maybe
Go ahead, Joe.
maybe y'all hashed this out already. Thank you. I heard you guys talking. Can I assume that all planes at a certain height, assuming they use similar jet fuel, would all leave the trails as long as they're at a certain height under the right conditions?
Right conditions, yeah. You need the right pressure, temperature, and humidity.
Yes, assuming it's the same day, same conditions. If one plane goes through and it leaves a trail, the other planes, assuming they're similar, should leave trails as well. I can look for that shit and see in real life.
The same plane too, because different planes have different specific makeups of their exhaust. But if they're similar, then
Right, I'd have to get into it.
Expectation.
But somehow during the Boogeyman event, even though 80% of planes got taken out,
12
the
times
ones that do that, they all still flew. Precisely.
Yeah, Toon, why do we over talking sometimes? Like these people just don't listen, do they?
They don't.
Oh, can I add one more thing, by the way? Everybody keeps forgetting. Propeller-driven aircraft also leave contrails at the proper altitudes, not just jets.
Very good. I didn't know that.
I don't doubt that that's true. I've never seen it though. I never heard of that. I've seen it.
Look up pictures of World War II B-17 bombers, and you'll see a perfect example of them leaving contrails when they're flying for bombing runs.
Show that video now. If I
think you're right.
Has anybody else on the panel flown a plane?
I've been in aircraft. I'm an air traffic controller.
Not legally.
On RC planes.
Somebody go get Grid One. He would be able to speak to that.
So in the meantime, I'm the first most authority on the panel about airplanes. Suck it.
Okay.
I highly doubt that. Just saying.
You won't walk to the end of your driveway.
No, not to prove something to people who are determined to not learn anything. But I already know more than you about airplanes because I've flown one and you haven't. So,
yeah, just because you can drive a car doesn't mean you know anything about it.
Yeah, but if somebody knew a lot about a car, you would think that they'd have drove one at some point, didn't you?
It has nothing.
I mean, if you had a brilliant mechanic, but he didn't know how to drive, don't you think that there's something fishy going on there?
Well, if you're a pilot, what's your rating?
Thought at all.
A+.
Single engine, multi-engine, passenger.
All the engines.
Chris, did
Nice
you
try.
have
You're not a
pilot.
I'm not a pilot.
Yeah, you would have
Shut up,
known
boys.
immediately about instrument ratings or non-instrument ratings or.
Exactly. That's why I asked that. I'm a retired air traffic controller, so I know all about that.
Okay. Yeah, no, my grandma was a flight instructor. So I float a plane. I'm not a pilot.
Useless debate. Wow.
Chris, I wanted to know if...
Go back to your Rubik's Cube. Have you finished that Rubik's Cube yet?
It. Both of you shut up. Chris, I wanted to know if you had something to add in. You're muted. You're muted, Chris.
Still muted.
Oh yeah, I mean,
oh Jesus, Joe, stop it.
But the one question I had was actually specifically because we know of contrails back from, or actually, and I'm using the wrong terminology, I apologize, but for the actual chemical trails, when do they actually start Like, just even if it's a conspiracy, just when do you guys think it actually started?
In history?
I think World War II is
just when we had airplanes.
In the 50s.
I know it was used actively in Vietnam, but I think that there's records of it like in World War before that, but I don't know exactly.
Whenever planes flew high enough, I'd assume.
Yeah, because we had contrails back in the 40s. I was just trying to kind of figure out exactly when you guys think it started, and you guys answered, and I appreciate you guys.
Actually, hold on. Let me chime in real quick on this.
Chemtrails or no chemtrails? I was just wondering if he believed there were chemtrails or no chemtrails.
This trails the question.
What is your name?
I don't believe in them.
Hold on. What's that, MC?
He's asking about when in history did these trails appear behind planes?
I think so, yeah. And Chris, do you believe the chemtrails?
No.
Well, I mean, that's a good question. Like, if they are true, when did this begin? You know, and there would have to be some type of starting point to it, right? Ben,
the observation of the air blasts of bombs in World War I led to an increase in the amount of rainfall that took place over the battlefields. They deduced that the amount of particulate matter in the atmosphere led to more condensation around the nuclei, creating more rain.
The specific question you're asking is, when did contrails first show up? Chris?
Because Sasquatch answer would not be sufficient.
I think he was asking when the conspiracy
when
started.
Officially cloud seeding started happening, and it was about 1950 when officially they admit that cloud seeding was going on. So what's been going on before that? You'd have to presume that they at least tested it without telling anybody before they could even go in and say, "Hey, we have this thing that works." But somewhere in the 40s, then you could probably presume at least.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Like, he's saying contrails because you're saying contrails are chemtrails. So basically, when did contrails start appearing on aircraft? Because that would be your chemtrails, correct?
Well, I'm not saying contrails don't exist. I'm also not saying that this is where you're going with that is that that everything is either one or the other. And I'm not saying that contrails don't exist. I'm saying, and I'm certain that under certain pristine conditions, something similar happens. But what we see today, we see large patches of it, nowhere near airports a lot of times, and just these giant grids that don't move in particular. Do I think that all of that is contrail? No, I think that's crazy.
So is there a way to determine visually which one of the contrails are contrails and which one of the chemtrails are chemtrails, or do they pretty much all just look the same? If they pretty much all just look the same, then how could you come to the conclusion that some are chemicals and some are not?
Well, the ones that you would typically be under question are the ones that don't dissipate within 15, 20 minutes, something like that. The ones that literally you can go out there at lunch, go out there in the afternoon, and that bugger's still sitting there looking exactly the same. Those are the ones
they spread out.
Yeah, they don't look at
so this eliminates. So this eliminates
being hyperbolic, but you know what he means.
For the ones that are remaining in the sky. So now we have a target that we can choose to use different instruments such as LiDAR or even air scrubbers to find out which chemicals are within these specific chemtrails, leaving out all contrails, because now we have a definite definition of chemtrails as ones that stay in the sky for a prolonged duration.
I think that was from the hip sort of explanation of how he looks for him, not a definitive definition of him. But my question, and I don't know the answer to this isn't like a gotcha or lead. What is the temperature up like at that altitude, just from the range?
On average,
yeah,
between -15 and -20 degrees at 35,000 feet.
Okay.
All right. Chris, did you have any other questions to add in?
Oh, but yeah, basically that was
All right. Is
Starting
he
to go.
stalling for anyone else?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's stuttering for me too.
Okay, I'm gonna throw him back. And let me do this real quick because Ben's like dying to ask a question. Ben, is that you, darling?
Yep. How's it going?
Yeah, next time get a membership so you're first in line, ding dong, okay?
All right.
Mm-hmm.
What's up,
All
Flo?
right.
What's going
And
on?
I think you need to ask your question quickly since Kreg is going to make his exit shortly.
Yeah. So, Craig, I was just gonna ask. It's more related to how you debate. I think it might have already been asked before, but why do you cry so much when you debate? Like, you tell people, "Don't interrupt me, don't interrupt me," and then you just interrupt all the time. I'm just curious.
Because I have a rule. I treat people how they treat me. If they start interrupting me and over talking me, then I will do the same to them. You will never find it that I'm the one that starts it, but I treat people as they treat me because that seems fair. You can look at many of my debates and see where that doesn't happen because the person I'm speaking to has some impulse control themselves. But if someone wants to act a dick, then I will be a dick 5 times worse. If you don't like it, then suck it.
I don't know.
I think that makes sense because I guess you. I assume you're gay, right?
Oh my God, Ben!
Are you hitting on me?
it.
Sorry.
Right. Am I gay? Right. So this is. Let me put this up. This is my wife. Of 18 years that I recently took to Amsterdam on our 18th wedding anniversary. Took her to Yamamoto restaurant at Akura Hotel. So no, I'm definitely not gay. I hate to disappoint you. I'm sorry, but if you like, you can still take a picture of me and use it for your wank wank.
Look at MC2 sitting there with that knowing look on his face, like he really is gay. But...
Nice.
So
Spank bank or spank bank? Because we always say spank bank here.
Last thing, and I'll drop off to let somebody else get up.
To be fair, the haircut. I mean,
yeah,
is that a faux hawk? That's a faux hawk.
Yes. But Chris was up. If he does come back up, I do want him to know I was the one that super chatted to have him speak the other day. And I don't remember him answering Andrew Wilson's question. So I was wanting it kind of answered if he ate it or not. So that 530 pounds.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. That was
but it
nasty.
wasn't answered. So.
Nasty. All right. Bye, Ben. We love you.
Yeah. Bye.
And in all fairness,
so many people
rocked faux hawks by calling me gay.
So many people try to attack me by calling me gay. Number
As
one,
Ben leaves, I believe I'm also
in 2025. And number two,
I'm also going to step out for a second or step off so that other people can come up.
Hold on.
He has the best mustache in the game.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Craig, are you making your exit?
Yes, I am. I have to travel to Edinburgh tomorrow for a podcast, so I do need to sleep at some point. This clone wasn't programmed to stay awake forever. Thank you very much for keeping me, let me come and have a laugh with some people who understand nothing about basic physics. It's always fun. Everyone watching on my channel, go and join in on Sarah and Toon's channel, and make sure you join in on Thursday on my channel for part 2 of my debate with Mr. Trump-tastic. It's going to be a dumpster fire. I'll speak to you all later.
Ooh, fun, Craig. And would you like me to disconnect? Craig, would you?
Yeah, well, I'll just end the stream on my end, so it'd be cool. Right.
You can't. You can, but I just want to make sure you do.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Good night, guys. Thank you very much.
Good night, Craig. Thank you for coming on this evening.
Always fun. See you later. Bye.
All right.
Why does that guy look like a filter?
He looks like a filter.
I mean, I want his face is a filter. Why did he leave? He looked like the most interesting person.
No, I removed it.